Going here finally in the Tyson Holly Farms 400. You can see that the track is for the most part dry. There are some wet spots down on the inside, but the cars don't run down there. And things are looking very good. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Hey guys, let me show you something we haven't seen in almost a week. A closed umbrella. And that's good news. And also an essentially dry pit road. The concrete area has been dry, and a dry fire suit, by the way. We got sort of soaked. We did our imitation of a sponge last week and the past couple of days, but rains have stopped. The track is drying. Pit road is essentially dry, particularly the pitting area, the concrete area. So we're looking awfully good right here at Wilkesboro for Green Flag Racing very soon.
And one other thing that we are seeing now that we haven't seen in the last couple of days, right up there, guys, is some blue sky. Can you believe it?
I'm ready. I'm definitely ready. You know, those 32 drivers and us three and Jerry Punch and John Kernan and everyone in the truck, we're ready.
Let's go to John Kernan, who's down on pit road.
Hey guys, guess what? No umbrella. I'm not carrying the umbrella. And look, yes, I am wearing sunglasses. We are all set and ready to go racing. Brett Bodine is ready to go. The track looks great. I mean, it looks completely dry from down in this section of the segment of the track where they will be racing. Pit road looks to be in really good shape. All we're waiting for now is that all-important command to start the engines, and we're ready for an afternoon of racing.
John, kill the glasses.
You don't like these, Benny?
No.
What's wrong with them?
It makes you look like a nerd.
Like a nerd? Hey, now, them's fighting words where I come from.
Seriously, guys.
Oh, there we go.
That's better.
Like that better?
That's
Okay.
the real John.
Much better. What can we look for here in the next few minutes when the race does get underway?
I think it's going to be a guessing game for a lot of them. We've heard several drivers talk about the chassis setups, how the track has changed since Saturday afternoon, and whoever has that right setup will take off at the beginning. But as Benny said earlier, this racetrack is going to change, and if you go good at the first, you might not go good at the last.
I predicted the guy that leads the first 40 laps will probably not finish in the top 5. And that's pretty bold, but, you know, you just can't keep it together for 400 laps. I've never been able to keep it together.
Well, it's an unusual racetrack. It's 5/8 of a mile, but it has had some very interesting races over the years, and we think we're ready for one here this afternoon. So stay with us. In just a few moments, the command will be given, and the cars will move off, and we'll get this NASCAR Winston Cup race underway. Welcome back to ESPN Speed World coverage of this NASCAR Winston Cup race, the 25th event of the 1992 season. There is Jack Roush, the owner of Mark Martin and Wally Dallenbach Jr.'s car. He's checking things over here just before the command to start engines. And as you can see, there's a little bit of sun reflecting off the back of Ken Schrader's car. And so the weather is looking very, very good here, despite some inclement weather the past 2 days. Rained all day yesterday, rained most of this morning, but now we are getting set to go. There's King Richard Petty as he gets set to compete for the final time here at North Wilkesboro. He has won 15 events at this 5/8 mile racetrack, more than any other driver. And he hopes to add number 16 to the list this afternoon. His statistics show us that he has 64 starts, a win every year from 1970 to 75, and he finished first or second every year from 1967 through 81. It was also about this time of year 1 year ago that he made an important announcement. Here's this week's Petty Memory.
This Richard Petty memory is brought to you by the First Brands Corporation, makers of STP gas treatment.
The deal is that it will be my last year next year, and it will be known as a fan appreciation tour.
October 1st, 1991. The King announces that 1992 will be his last as a driver, much to the dismay of his loyal fans.
About a year and a half ago, I got to thinking about it, and then, you know, for probably 3 or 4 months, sitting around arguing with myself about it, and then finally made the decision. I said, that's what I'm going to do. So I said, you know, how can we work our way out of here and sort of do it from the fan standpoint and also from my standpoint? I don't know if I could stand just getting out the last race and just saying that's it and not working my way down. I've been doing it for 34 years, and it's kind of hard to look at it from that standpoint. So I said, okay, you know, the best thing to do is just run a year, and I can back off each race a little bit more and by the end of the year, I might be able to accept it.
And Richard Petty is about to hear the command here at North Wilkesboro to start the engines. And indeed, the command has been given. We are moments away from the start of this event, finally. An in-car camera will be riding with Bobby Hamilton today, the country time car. There's the roof cam on top of Morgan Shepherd's Citgo Ford as he's lined up right behind Terry Labonte. And Wally Dallenbach Jr. will also be carrying an in-car camera for us today as his Keystone Beer Planters Foods car is set to go. Well, we're a little bit ahead of schedule from last week. There's Alan Kulwicki, the pole sitter. We got our race underway around 2 o'clock last Monday afternoon. And now, just after the noon hour Eastern time, we are set to move the 32 cars off of pit road and begin 400 laps of competition. There's the Phillips 66 in-car camera. Jimmy Hensley, of course, driving that machine.
He'll be starting at the 20th position.
And it could be that they'll send the cars out and do a few laps of yellow just to make sure that the track is ready for high-speed competition before we get the actual start of the event.
It looks dry to me. The racetrack looks like it's race ready. Jerry Punch, what do you think?
Well, the track looks very, very ready as far as the groove area is concerned. NASCAR now watching as the Air Care Team helicopter, which is a trauma unit from nearby North Carolina Baptist Hospital, which is able to service the tracks at North Wilkesboro, Martinsville, and Rockingham, has made its way about a half-hour flight from Winston-Salem. They are on their way to land in a helipad area adjacent to Turn 4. So once they land, they'll be able to get these cars rolled off and get ready for 400 laps of racing action. We might add that NASCAR always makes sure there is a trauma position and now a trauma helicopter team like this one at the tracks when they're available, and particularly the short tracks here in the Carolinas and Virginia. Bob?
So just as soon as that helicopter lands, the cars will be moving out and we'll get set to go. Alan Kulwicki and Rusty Wallace occupy the front row for this event. Jeff Bodine and Kyle Petty in row 2. Then Ricky Rudd and Sterling Marlin, Terry Labonte and Ernie Irvin, and Morgan Shepherd and Dale Jarrett are the first 10 starters in this event. Pretty good crowd on hand, despite the fact that we're more than almost 24 hours delayed in this race. Back for the start in just a moment. 32 cars are on pit road getting set to move on to the racetrack here at North Wilkesboro for a few warm-up laps before getting the green flag. Looks like the sign man down there is indicating 5 laps maybe of warm-up before they get green.
That's exactly what he's telling his drivers. And I think the racetrack is dry, but they've got to get the transmission and the rear gear and the fluids in those cars warm, and it will take at least 5 laps to do that because these cars have not moved since yesterday morning. There's Jimmy Cox telling all the drivers 5 laps, and Davey Allison took a swipe at him. A friendly swipe. So did Schrader.
Yeah, these cars have not been under a roof. They were not in the garage area when the rain hit yesterday. They were lined up on pit road, and they've been protected only by tarps, and those things can leak, and so there could be some wet positions in the cars.
And of course, one of the reasons why they were not taken back into the garage area, they had already gone through the inspection procedure of NASCAR, which takes several hours, and they didn't want to do that.
We have a spin already. Darrell Waltrip has spun over in turn number 2. The car is headed in the wrong direction, at least. I assume he spun.
I can't believe that.
How about that? Now he gets it headed in the right direction. Wow.
Alan Kulwicki did that the other day. He left the pits and went on the second corner and spun. And he called himself Roberto Guerrero. Didn't Guerrero do that on the pace lap?
Sure did at Indianapolis this year.
He was on the pole.
Yeah,
and
right.
You can see the wet spot down on the inside of the racetrack, and probably we see the cars weaving back and forth trying to get the tires clean, a little bit of heat in the tires. And he probably went down there and hit a little bit of a wet spot, and at the same time was pressing the accelerator, and she just spun around on him.
You're watching from the pace car as Richard Petty, who led the field around for a preliminary lap, now takes his assigned position, and the cars get into their correct starting order. There's Rusty Wallace in the number 2 Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, scrubbing the tires, getting set to go.
That's what they're trying to do, is get a little bit of heat in the tires so they will stick. That's what happened to Kawicki. That's what happened to Darrell, is those tires cold just don't get the adhesion that you're accustomed to, so they swerve the cars back and forth, trying to get some heat as well as keep the tires clean.
Well, it's an indication of that in qualifying here on Friday. They gave them 2 laps to qualify. The fastest out of the 2 laps counted, and the second lap most of the time was a good bit faster than the first lap, and it was because they had a little heat in the tires.
What was the deal with Darrell, John?
Well, just like what you guys were saying, he just spun it out trying to, get a little more heat in the tires. He radioed back to the crew. He managed to keep his sense of humor about it. He says, hey, now I know how Roberto Guerrero felt.
Well, another way you could look at it, well, I've got mine out of the way. If everybody's going to spin here today, I've already done mine. No harm done.
Let's get out to Jerry Punch, who has a report just before we get the green flag. 2 more laps.
And the crews are reminding the drivers that the pit road speed will be 35 miles per hour today. And also a reminder that the paved area pit road, there's the primary lane, which is pavement, is still a little bit damp. So learn from what you just saw Darrell Waltrip do and make sure you're very careful with that brake pedal. Most of the drivers have radioed back to their crews. Dale Earnhardt just moments ago that the track should be ready to go in a couple laps. We'll be ready for racing, guys.
And unlike Darlington, Martinsville, Bristol, a few other tracks, the pits are located here on the main straightaway only. There are no pits on the backstretch. They are running from the middle of turn 3 and 4 down to between turns 1 and 2. But all of the pits are on the front straightaway. There's the backstretch as the field comes down.
If they get in there, they're going to get stuck today because it is very, very muddy. I might even be stuck myself wherever I park.
1 more lap to go and we'll get green.
There you see there's pits that go all the way back up into turn 4. Every track ought to do that so that they'd all be on the same footing, all on the same straightaway.
Well, we're about ready to go green. We have been plagued with bad weather the last 2 weekends.
This is incredible that we're getting a green flag at 12:15 this morning driving into the racetrack. I wouldn't have given a nickel for this. I mean, it was pouring on me coming in this morning. But on Martinsville, I kept saying to those guys about noon, about this time, I was saying to Gary Nelson, hey, just call this thing. Let's go home. He said, nah, we're going to get this thing in. And he was right.
Let's hope we see as good a race today as we did last Monday afternoon when Jeff Bodine took the checkered flag for the Martinsville race, the Goodies 500. Here comes the field being led by Alan Kawicki off of turn number 4, looking for the green flag and to start up this Tyson Holly Farms 400. And there it is. We're underway.
Takes the lead from the pole. Rusty tried hard on the outside, just couldn't make it stick.
Rusty Wallace in close pursuit of Alan Kawicki. And you saw by that shot there as they came on down to cross the line how much rubber gets thrown up onto the track. Kawicki leads. 3rd is Kyle Petty. 4th is Rudd. 5th is Jeff Bodine. 6th is Terry Labonte. Ernie Irvin is 7th. Sterling Marlin 8th. Morgan Shepherd 9th. And Brett Bodine is in 10th position. And there is Davey Allison and Bill Elliott running together on the racetrack with Jimmy Hensley in car number 66.
As long as Elliott can see the rear deck of the 28 car, he's in good shape. Because that would mean that Allison would only gain about 3 points at this position.
Looking back on to Davey Allison from Jimmy Hensley's bumper cam. Looking to the outside of Davey, may try to pass him here, coming off the second corner down the backstretch. Allison and Elliott are side by side, and Bill is going to take his Budweiser Ford about a half a car length ahead of Davey's Haviland Ford. As they come down the straightaway, indeed, Elliott does take the position away from Davey.
Davy's running like his car is just not handling it all, or something's wrong with the car. Down on the inside of the racetrack, that's normally a conservative posture rather than an aggressive posture.
Davy's fallen all the way back to 19th position, and now as Rick Mast comes along, he drops back to 20th spot.
A tread cam, a camera in the racetrack itself.
DW going on the inside. Darrell Waltrip on the inside of Bill Elliott. Rick Mast will try to follow suit.
Mast gets by Bill. Now we watch from Richard Petty's car. Just ahead is Davey Allison. Davey has not communicated with the crew, not expressing any problem with the car at the moment. But he has lost about 5 positions.
Well, they're racing up front. Rusty Wallace has moved in close on Alan Kowicki, and Kyle Petty is there too.
Kyle Petty is coming just like last week at Martinsville. That mellow yellow Pontiac is running awfully well. Here comes Rusty. Kowicki closes the spot.
Took a look on the inside. He'll do it again. Coming off the corner. 3-car race at the moment. About 5 car lengths back of 3rd place is Rudd at 4th. And then about 5 car lengths behind him is Jeff Bodine. But this is the battle at the moment. And now Kyle Petty looking to take over 2nd from Rusty Wallace. Marlin and Morgan Shepherd running together. That's 6th. They make that 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Sterling Marlin did not get a particularly good start. Ernie Irvin got a pretty good start. Now it looks like Sterling's car is a little bit faster than Ernie's.
Yeah, Sterling's car, he started on the outside. He got caught up on the outside. It looked like the car was pushing a little bit with him, but now that they've got a few laps on those tires, it does look like he is a little bit faster than Ernie Irvin.
Good roof cam shot on Morgan Shepherd's car.
We see Sterling looking on the inside of Ernie.
I don't think Ernie's car is working exactly the way he would like for it to right now, because he's about 7 or 8 car lengths behind Perry Labonte in front of him, and that's not Ernie Irvin's style. If that car would go up there, he would fill that spot.
Morgan heads for the middle groove. It's a little wide going through turns 1 and 2. Here's the telemetry now on Morgan Shepherd's car. Speed going up as he comes down the main straightaway. Let's see what the top speed is. About 116 miles an hour. Braking and getting down to the mid-70s for the slow spot on the racetrack.
118 miles an hour down the front straightaway.
Braking just slightly as he is in the corner. Now up front, we still have the 3-car battle. It is Kowicki, Wallace, and Kyle Petty. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Kyle is trying to get on the inside.
Kyle's car really works good down on the low side. He's going to try to drive into one below Rusty.
Oh, they contact.
Rusty goes wide. Kyle still not able to make the pass despite the fact there was contact, and Rusty's car slid up the racetrack, but he held on to 2nd.
I think both of them had to back off to keep control of the race car.
Let's take a look at the replay. We see Kyle on the inside of Rusty. Remember Dale Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd a couple of years ago? Same kind of a situation. Only just some slight contact between Petty and Wallace. They both a little bit out of shape. Did a good job saving the cars.
Davey Allison, meanwhile, has fallen back to 20th position, and John Kernan has an update.
Well, guys, when we talked at the beginning of the show about how much the track had changed, the temperature had changed from Saturday, much cooler, much tighter racetrack, that is what Davey Allison's problem is right now. He has radioed in and told Larry McReynolds that they've got too much bite in the car. It does not want to turn when it goes into the corners. So what they're contemplating right now, they're putting their heads together. They may take some bite out of the car during the pit stop and hope that that will solve the problem.
Davey isn't losing any ground at the moment, but he is struggling back there in 20th position. Now Rusty Wallace is once again right on the rear bumper of Alan Kowicki in the battle for the lead. Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway in the Tyson Holly Farms 400, which is 26 laps old. Postponed from yesterday. And here is Mark Martin making a move on Dale Jarrett.
Trying to do it on the outside. Jarrett has been trying to get around Brett Bodine. He's been trying to pass him on the inside, but there was no room there, so Mark decided to go up the outside.
Contact between those two guys. They rubbed some tires.
And these guys are also making contact with each other just about every lap. Rusty and Allen had a slight encounter while we were in break. Didn't result in any position change or any damage to the cars, but these guys are running very, very close together. And look who's also in this hunt now. Running in 4th position is Jeff Bodine, who has passed Ricky Rudd in the past few laps and is threatening now to make it a 4-car race. There's Jeff, last week's winner at Martinsville.
He dropped back to 5th on the start of this race. He started 3rd, but now the Ford seems to be hooked up for him, and he has run down the leaders. He's the fastest car on the track right now.
And Jerry Punch has a comment on Jeff Bodine's run as Rusty tried and didn't make it. Jerry?
And Rusty Wallace, while he works on Alan Kowicki, will mention that last week, with 30 laps to go, Jeff Bodine opted not to come in and change tires because his car works better on longer green flag runs. They told me this morning the same case. After 20 or 25 laps, our car will be very, very consistent. That's exactly what's happening now. 25 laps plus, and now Jeff Bodine is closing in on the lead threesome.
Indeed, the car is coming in as now he's right on the back bumper of Kyle Petty. And I'm not sure which of these cars is the fastest at this point. They're pretty well equally matched. There is Sterling Marlin, Terry Labonte, and Ernie Irvin also involved in a good fight.
Well, Marlin's car is on the go. He passed the 4 car of Ernie Irvin not too long ago. Now has taken the car number 94, so he has moved into the 6th position. So Marlin's car coming in now.
And they are coming up on Ricky Rudd, who is in 5th. There's Rudd on the left side of your screen. The 90 cars driven by Hut Strickland being lapped.
You talk about who's the fastest car in it. It's really difficult to tell because the Pontiacs of Rusty Wallace, Kyle Petty, if they could get by Kowicki, might prove to be the faster cars on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think both of them are faster than Alan Kowicki, but they just are not quite fast enough to get around them.
We've got 2 Pontiacs and 2 Fords here in the top 4. Here is Bodine.
Rusty's got a shot. He's got under Alan Kowicki as they come off the corner.
Yeah, he'll do it this time.
Allen sees him, gives him room in the 3rd turn, and now as they come out of 4, Rusty should be able to take the lead, and he does. And now Kyle Petty will try to take over 2nd position. He draws alongside of Allen, and he goes to 2nd. Let's see what Jeff does.
He's going to try to get a nose up there, but he couldn't quite do it coming off that turn.
Meanwhile, while this went on, Sterling Marlin and Ernie Irvin got by Ricky Rudd, so now Marlin in 5th, Ernie Irvin in 6th.
Here's Jeff moving to the inside of Kowicki, coming off the 4th turn. And it looks like Jeff Bodine will go to 3rd place. Yes, Alan Kowicki falls from 1st to 4th in 2 laps.
Well, you say Jeff Bodine got by Kowicki so easily that he is the fastest car on the racetrack. That's not necessarily the case. Kowicki, after he lost the lead, there's not much point racing for 3rd like you are for 1st.
Jeff Purvis takes the car number 12, the Ray Vestas car, into the garage area.
Brett Bodine, Dale Jarrett, and Darrell Waltrip are running together. And there goes Kyle Petty like a slingshot to the inside of Rusty, and he takes the lead.
His car is fast again this week, as it was last week at Martinsville.
These 2 cars at Martinsville last week ran nose to tail many, many laps.
Kyle Petty has scored more points than any other driver in the 2nd half of the season. Here's a replay of how he got the lead from Rusty Wallace.
Came off the 2nd corner. Looks like Rusty did not get off the corner very well. Had to let off the gas a little bit. Kyle saw the opportunity. Zoom, went to the lead.
And the 7 car has fallen a couple of more positions as now Marlin and Irvin have gotten by Alan Kowicki. Jerry?
Indeed, Alan Kowicki, this radio just proves has got a little bit of a push. The car's a little bit tight. No need to try to worry about abusing the car here in the early laps. You got 400 laps to run, and and they all realize they're probably going to have to pit about lap 130 to 135 anyway, so everyone will be making some adjustments at that first pit stop. Back up there.
41 laps are now completed.
There we see the pole sitter, Kowicki. He's the only car eligible this week for the Unocal Challenge, worth $83,600. If he can win the race, he would win that much more than anyone else.
And you got an idea of the interval between Allen and the leader, Kyle Petty. And Kyle has separated himself quite a bit from second place Wallace.
Oh, yeah, he just moved out.
And here are Allison and Elliott running together again on the racetrack.
Davey just passed 11 cars, but still, Elliott, as long as he can stay right behind 28, he's okay. You see Jimmy Hensley, the Ford 66 car, close up on the deck lid of the Budweiser Ford.
Bill Elliott, by finishing third or better in each of the remaining 5 races, could clinch the title regardless of what Davey Allison does. And if he leads a lap in each of the remaining events, Elliott would clinch the championship by finishing 4th or better. Here's a good battle as Sterling Marlin has come up and passed Rusty Wallace, and that puts him in 3rd.
Jeff Bodine is 2nd, so Rusty's car, I believe, is maybe a little bit loose right now, fellas. That's what I'll predict it is. It's not handling as well as it was earlier.
And here's Ricky Rudd and Mark Martin, wheel to wheel.
Mark Martin didn't qualify particularly well, but he seems to have a very fast race car because he's worked his way up into about the 8th spot.
Ricky Rudd has dropped back to 9th. Morgan Shepherd 10th. Dale Jarrett 11th. Darrell Waltrip is 12th. Brett Bodine 13th. Ken Schrader 14th. And Rick Mask 15th.
The lead continues to be held by Kyle Petty in the mellow yellow Pontiac with 47 of 400 laps completed at North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina on this Monday afternoon. Wilkesboro, here's a father and son shot. We're inside Father Richard Petty's car, looking ahead to his son, Kyle Petty, who at the moment is leading this NASCAR Winston Cup race.
Not a particularly good shot for Richard Petty because that means he has been lapped by his son.
He is running in 25th position, and once again today, the Gillette Halfway Challenge Contest. $10,000 to the driver leading the halfway lap, and you at home could win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Now, if you enter the contest for this race and your entry is selected and you're called at home, you have to name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge. If you want to enter the contest for next week's Mellow Yellow 500 on October the 11th, write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida, 337312246. You must be 18 years of age or older to enter, and we must have your entry by Saturday, October the 10th to be eligible for next Sunday's Gillette Halfway Challenge.
We're on top of Morgan Shepherd's Sitco Ford as he follows Brett Bodine in turn 3. And Dale Jarrett up in front of him.
He's having some problems with the Sitco Ford, Benny. Right in the center of the corner, that car is just not turning for him. He gets into the turn good, but then in the center of the corner, it goes up and he just almost stops and then has to turn it square back left, and it's really costing him a lot of time in the turns.
About 4 miles an hour slower than he was 30 laps or so ago.
And that's because he's not coming off the turn.
And we keep, we constantly talking about what fresh tires does to a car, and we can just see the car is slowed down 4 miles an hour down each straightaway because it just isn't getting through the corners. The tires not gripping like they did at the beginning of the race.
Ernie Irvin's on the move. He puts a lap on Wally Dallenbach Jr. and sneaks up on Rusty Wallace.
This is a race for 4th place.
Here's a Tram Field summary. Watch for your favorite driver. See how he was running last lap.
JW moved up to the top 10. Now these cars right here, Allison, Trickle, they're not far from going a lap down, fellas. Bill Elliott is still in the lead lap, but Harry Gant and several of them there. In fact, Kyle Petty is right on Harry Gant's bumper right now, about to put a lap on him.
And he will do so going into turn number 1. So Harry Gant goes a lap down. There is Dale Earnhardt and Davey Allison. Davey comes inside and takes the position away from Earnhardt.
There we see Bill Elliott right behind him, and look, here comes Kyle Petty to put both these Winston Cup point leaders a lap down.
Jimmy Hensley goes a lap down. Next to go will be Rich Bickle in car number 45.
Is this Bickle's first race ever, Winston Cup race?
No, I don't think so. No.
He's run before?
Yeah.
Runs some ARCA races, a couple of Busch races.
There we see
Terminal Transport is sponsoring on Bickle's car.
Jeff Bodine going by the Jimmy Hensley car. And Kyle Petty's run alongside Bill Elliott, the Budweiser Ford.
And look how close Jeff Bodine is on Kyle Petty. He has caught him now.
Elliott is a lap down.
Here comes Bodine. Bickle goes by Dick Trickle.
On the outside, Kyle Petty is looking very strong here in the first 63 laps. Jerry?
You're right, Bob. We documented his impressive performance last week coming from 3 laps down. And this is the same race car. Well, it is and it isn't. Robert Pemberton told me when they got that car last week back to the shop, they had the trailing arms bent, the A-frames were bent, the ball joints were bent, and the rear end housing was bent. They basically had to rework and redesign, or basically replace, I should say, the entire suspension of this car. So the sheet metal and the frame are the same, and everything else is brand new.
I was without question. It kind of took me back to the old days when I used to go to the races as a kid, and despite the fact that your favorite driver was in the race, you had to cheer for Kyle Petty because of all the adversities that he overcame during the running of the race.
Exactly. I got awfully excited last week watching Kyle Petty. It's not, he's not my son or brother, but I really enjoyed watching Kyle Petty drive last week.
Oh, he put
a great show.
Yeah, great show he put on.
Oh, look at this. Jeff Bodine is now ready to take the lead from Kyle Petty. They enter turn number 3. Side by side they go in there. That's Bickle and Dale Earnhardt just ahead. And Jeff Bodine is going to take the lead. And
But he wants to move out behind Earnhardt. Kyle Petty's got him jammed in there. 3 abreast.
Won't work.
Kyle trying to use Earnhardt as a pick.
Yep.
Bodine was trying to make him 3 abreast. Couldn't do it.
it's going to work too. Oh, they come off the corner 3 abreast. Jeff to the inside, and that's not going to work. He slams on the brakes to get back in the groove. And now he has a car separating himself and Petty. But he'll pass Earnhardt. By the way, that of course puts Dale a lap down. And look at this battle.
As the car number 22 of Sterling Marlin and Ernie Irvin try to lap the Jimmy Hensley, Dick Trickle, and the Bill Elliott cars.
Now 3 of those cars are battling for position. The other 2, the 22 and the 4, are trying to put laps on them. We're watching from Jimmy Hensley's perspective. So one Junior Johnson prepared car running together with the other Junior Johnson prepared car. And one obviously has a right setup, and Bill Elliott does not at the moment.
Yeah, I'm sure that Elliott would wish he could paint that car red, put 11 on it.
Well, the leaders have cleared traffic now for the most part, and Kyle Petty remains in the lead. But Jeff Bodine is still right there.
You know, Rich,
oh, look at this.
Kyle Petty just lost the handle all of a sudden because Rich Bickle, you remember he was right on his back bumper a little bit ago. Bickle has pulled away by about 10 car lengths, so Kyle has lost the handle all of a sudden.
Car went up the racetrack in turn 1, allowing Bodine to get the nose beneath him, and now he is the leader on lap 72.
Boy, that 15 is hooked up, but one that's not hooked up is Alan Kowicki. Started on the pole now, is in 7th position, but Terry Labonte trying to take it away. And here's Darrell Waltrip, who has continuously moved up through the field. So you're seeing 7th, 8th, and 9th there on the screen.
And every position is very important to Alan Kowicki. He not only is in the thick of things for the championship, but Harry Gant, of course, has been very close nearly all second half of the season for 3rd in the point standings. There's the leader, Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York, driving the Motorcraft Ford, leading after 74 laps of the NASCAR Winston Cup Tyson Holly Farms 400. Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. Over the past year, you, the race fan, have benefited from advances in computer technology, which has allowed us to bring real-time information into your living room. The Ford Electronics Division's engine management computer placed in the Ford Racing Thunderbirds have even further enhanced the in-car action. Ford's E4 system, designed for the Ford F1 Benetton team, has pre-programmed information calculating rear axle ratio and tire circumference, which gives us speed reading. Its sensor is placed on the differential's oil pump, while information from the engine's crankshaft feeds the RPMs. A hydraulic pressure sensor in the master cylinder tells the computer when the brakes are being applied. And gearing? Well, Ford holds that classified. All these sensors are connected via a wiring harness into the E4. You can see the sensors that are located throughout the car. Well, they gather the data and then process it. The information is then transmitted from the car to a computer in ESPN's TV compound. It is this computer that generates the graphic display, giving us our miles per hour, RPM, gearing, and brake information in a form we can read. This instantaneous performance information is then fed to the ESPN production control truck for its live integration into the telecast.
And there you have an explanation of how it all works, how we're able to show you the RPMs, the miles an hour, the gearing, and the braking in our Ford telemetry. And this is live now as we're following Morgan Shepherd running in 19th position.
That was good, Bob. I learned something from that.
Thank you. You impressed, Benny?
I am. I'm just surprised those guys in the trucks, big a ham as they are, didn't wave to the camera.
Yeah, it was their big chance, and they blew it.
They blew it.
Sterling Marlin putting a lap on the 21 car.
Yeah, Morgan's car just not working the way it needs
And Rich Bickle is still on the lead lap. He was.
There. Boy, he stayed in front of the leader, though, for a long time.
Yeah, he has been running good. His car seems to be hooked up on old tires.
They're talking about next year, Rich Bickle and the Terminal Trucking crew going to run for the Rookie of the Year in 1993, Winston Cup Racing.
16 cars are now on the lead lap. And the next car that will be lapped is Davey Allison. Bill Elliott is already a lap down. There is Davey. You can see how much separation there is between them.
And look at Rich.
Hello.
Say it for me, Bob.
Watch my lips. Ricky Rudd.
Ricky Rudd.
Good.
He was second or third at the beginning. Now he's falling back.
Yeah, he was fourth for a long time, but that car, the Tide Chevrolet, is not handling very well for him. And he is in danger of going a lap down. Now he's the next person that Jeff Bodine would lap, and it might come in the next 3 or 4 laps.
Davey Allison has got his car going a lot better than he did early on. Looks like the racetrack is getting looser and looser, and his car, his tight race car, is getting better, but he's still not as fast as Jeff Bodine. We can see Bodine only, 6 car lengths behind Davey as he goes by the Kellogg's Hornflake Chevrolet of Dave Marcus.
Bodine's car is really hooked up. Let's see what he can do up on the outside here now. He's been coming off the turns good down on the inside. Looks like he comes on pretty good on the outside, too.
Ricky Rudd goes a lap down, and now next will be Davey Allison.
Derek Cope is already a lap down in the Pure Later Chevrolet.
Right. Well, we've been all green so far, and we're nearing the 100 lap mark, a quarter of the way through this event. Been green all the way. Sunshine is coming down, and things are looking good here.
It's looking great. Unbelievable. What a great day we've got going. Everyone's probably stuck in the red clay around here, but we'll worry about that at 3 or 4 o'clock. Tell you what, Bodine, Travis Carter, Donnie Wingo, Bud Moore, these fellows have found something in the last couple of weeks to get this car off the corner, because he comes off the corner like he's shot.
Ricky Rudd was about to lose.
Thought he was going to stop over there, Ned, off the 2. Here's Martin and Ernie Irvin.
Martin started 16th, just past Irvin for the 4th spot. So the Valvoline Ford is flying. Jerry Punt's going strong, isn't he?
He really is, Benny. And this is going to amplify what you said a minute ago. Remember last week we talked about Donnie Wingo said that Travis Carter is probably one of the easiest people he's ever been around to work with. Travis Carter, who came over as team manager for this motorcraft team of Bud Moore. Remember, Travis's last win as a crew chief came right here with Harry Gant in this race in 1985. And a couple of years ago, Travis Carter's own team with Jimmy Spencer driving was one of the dominant cars here. So obviously, Travis's setup, coming along with Bud Moore and Donnie Wingo's setup, has turned into one potent outfit here today with Jeff Bodine.
Jeff Bodine is lapping cars like they're sitting still. Davey Allison is a lap down. Richard Petty another lap down. And you've had some success with Travis Carter, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Won the Daytona 500 in 1975. And look here, Sterling Marlin has taken over that second spot from Kyle Petty, the mellow yellow Pontiac.
Richard Petty coming into the pits, the first of pit stops that we have seen here, and we're at about 96 laps. I thought that they might come in about 100 to 110. Jerry said earlier 135 laps. Yeah, they can go that far on gas, but I wondered if they didn't really want to come in and get some fresh tires on the car, and especially some of them that are slipping and sliding out there. I think we'll see them come in a little bit earlier than for a fuel stop.
Well, obviously, Richard Petty needed 4 fresh tires. They're giving him 4 new Goodyears and getting the STP Pontiac filled with gasoline. He goes back on the track, and now Ken Schrader is going a lap down to Jeff Bodine.
That's 14th position. So now just 13 cars in the lead left. Bodine, and look, the 55 car, Ted Musgrave, the Jasper engine Ford, great run he's got going today.
He sure has.
Then we see the King go back on the racetrack. Now we're just going to see what new tires, what a difference it makes, because Richard Petty is probably going to blow right by Jeff Bodine, our leader, in a lap or two.
Darrell Waltrip appears to be running consistently faster than Jeff Bodine. We did a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval and timed laps 80 through 84, and the interval shrunk from 9.1 seconds down to 8.1 on lap 83, but then he lost a tenth of a second on lap number 84. So Darrell Waltrip indeed is just a little bit quicker on most of the laps.
He has been coming up through there pretty well, just biding his time, but still working the traffic good. Here's Bodine putting another lap on Bill Elliott. That puts him 2 laps down. And Benny, you're right. Richard Petty has caught Jeff Bodine with those new tires.
Yeah, we're going to see from the in-car cameras, Richard just closes up right on the back bumper. There's Musgrave I was talking about a moment ago, going a lap down to Bodine. And watch Richard. He'll
try to get outside of Musgrave.
Meanwhile, he's got 2 cars in front of him, running side by side, as Musgrave tried desperately to save that lap.
Jeff is going to put a lap on Ted Musgrave, however. And that means that now only 12 cars are on the lead lap. Richard Petty is running 29th with the new tires. And Derry Cope comes in for a pit stop in the Purolator Chevy. And we're now beginning to see some of the early pit stops being made. Hut Strickland is also on pit road. Chassis adjustment being made there on the Purolator Chevy. And Derry Cope goes back out onto North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway.
You know, I've messed up on a few relationships in my life, but there's one that's lasted over 35 years with a lot of help from Quaker State. It's tough on wear, tough on sludge. So Quaker State and I are planning on a meaningful relationship with my new car. So why don't you do the same with your new car's engine, and Quaker State will guarantee it for 250,000 miles or 10 years in writing. You think if I gave Lonnie the Quaker State deal, she'd give me the same guarantee? Quaker State is one top motor oil.
Look for the sign.
Top-of-the-line parts.
Red, blue, and white.
Expert advice.
It's a good sign.
Your Big A Auto Parts store.
Keeps your car running right.
Where the pros go for auto parts.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car running right.
Someone to depend on when you need to depend on your car.
Some beer companies pour their money into expensive racing events. Does that make your beer taste better? Other beer companies pour their money into commercials with glamour and glitz. But you foot the bill. But at Genesee, we pour our money into the purest water and the finest grains. Jenny Light, the light beer that's real beer.
I listen to the radio in my car, but not at home. Just CDs and tapes.
The best is yet to come.
Who wants to hear commercials in between every song? And radio stations just don't play the music I like.
I'm shameless.
If radio ever had the right music, CD quality, no commercials, no DJs, it'd be great. But then it wouldn't be radio. It'd be more like...
Philadelphia Cable for free installation with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
It's back. That's where it belongs. The NHL returns to ESPN when the Stanley Cup champion Penguins face Eric Lindros and the Flyers Tuesday night.
The NHL on ESPN, back where it belongs.
It's a team that always gives Notre Dame a hard time. The Fighting Irish visit Pitt. Then Stanford faces UCLA Saturday. College football on ESPN in a class by itself.
Jeff Bodine leads the Tyson Holly Farms 400 as more pit stops are being made. Dale Earnhardt is coming in.
He's been struggling in that GM Goodrich Chevrolet, and I'm sure the crew will make some adjustments during the pit stop.
He's pitted down toward turn number 1.
We see him bending the spoiler back. See him back there bending the spoiler back. And also a chassis adjustment on the right rear. 4 tires. Car's too tight, trying to loosen the car up a little bit.
Here comes Bodine down the straightaway and into one. He's going to put another lap on Dale.
And the leader is just about to lap Rusty Wallace. Remember, Wallace was contending for the lead and led the race, didn't he? Jerry Punch, what kind of problem does Rusty have?
And guys, remember when we started this race, it was partially overcast. Now the clouds have parted and the sun is out, and Rusty has a serious problem with the car being very, very loose. In fact, so much of a problem, it decided to pit about 10 laps early. So here comes the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac down pit road. The outside front row starter will get all 4 tires changed by Buddy Parrott and the rest of the Miller Genuine Draft crew. Right side tires going on. A major chassis adjustment by Todd Parrott in the right rear of the car, trying to tighten the car up a little bit, putting a little more bite in the car. Now the left rear, they put the ratchet wrench in. Left side tires going on. It's full of fuel. He is down and away.
Well, he had nothing to lose. He was about to get lapped, so he just came in and got the 4 fresh tires. And now with those 4 fresh tires, Dale Earnhardt has unlapped himself, or got back the lap that he lost while on pit road. Another car that's really struggling out there is Ricky Rudd. I would expect him to be on pit road before too long.
And Bill Elliott really is sliding all over the track as well. Dale Jarrett's car has totally gone away on him.
I think you're going to lose about,
coming in the pit road.
I think you'll lose about 2 laps when you make a stop and change 4 tires.
Well, those drivers will welcome that opportunity, though, to come in and get those 4 tires.
35 miles an hour is the speed limit down pit road. We're riding on top of the Citgo Ford. Morgan Shepherd, he comes to a halt, and the Wood Brothers crew go to work. Second can of gasoline going in as the crew comes over now to the left side of the car. Car is all full of gasoline, and now the jack drops and the Citgo Ford moves away, and Bill Elliott now comes on to pit road as Morgan completed his stop in just a little under 22 seconds. Here's Elliott, the NASCAR Winston Cup points leader, in for service on lap 118.
I wonder if Jeff Bodine's about to come in. He's slowed going into turn 3. Yes, he is. The leader is coming into the pits.
Jeff Bodine brings the Motorcraft Ford slowly down pit road. Jerry Punch is there to call this stop.
As he comes toward us at 35 miles an hour, he had radioed his car was beginning to slip and slide. Whoa, as Bill Elliott moves out right in front of the leader. The Motorcraft Ford now has come to a halt. What I started to say was Jeff said his car had begun to slip and slide, as others now are complaining that their cars are getting very, very loose. They have changed right side tires. He will come around, and now Harold Stott and the rest of the crew will change left side tires. They got the car full of fuel. Jeff Bodine waiting very patiently already. And the car number 26 on 5, Bodine will head back to turn 1. Here's the Maxwell House Ford of Sterling Marlin in for his pit stop, and almost everyone we would expect to see change 4 tires because the conditions here have changed drastically. The sun is out. It is getting very warm. Let's check it up in the Mark Martin pit where John Kernan is.
Jerry, right side tires already on. It's a 4-tire change, a minor chassis adjustment on the right rear. Mark Martin wasn't planning to come in as he leaves pit. He wasn't planning to come in for about maybe 14 more laps. But because Jeff Bodine came on pit road, he had no choice. He had to get on pit road and get gasoline.
A flurry of activity. Kyle Petty pitted down toward turn number 1. Dale Jarrett is in. Brett Bodine is in for a pit stop. And I believe right now the lead is held by Darrell Waltrip.
Yeah, he should have taken over the lead when all of those others stopped.
Petty still in the pits. This is a relatively slow pit. Well, no, it is about 20.4 seconds. Kyle is on the move. So is Brett Bodine. Terry Labonte's on pit road.
As you see Kyle Petty get back up to speed, the Alan Kowicki crew has the board out. Here comes the pole setter, Alan Kowicki, down pit road to make his pit stop.
There's the leader, Darrell Waltrip, in the Western Auto Chevy.
And I think Darrell is coming in this time. There we see Kowicki coming to a stop. The crew goes to work on the right side. Here comes the leader, Darrell Waltrip, Western Auto Chevrolet, to his pit, and John Kernan is there.
35 miles an hour down pit road. Darrell Waltrip pulls the Western Auto Chevrolet to a stop. They'll go to work on a 4-tire change. Darrell, as we documented just a few minutes ago, one of the fastest, if not the fastest car consistently on the racetrack. And you know, this morning, he had that big grin on his face like he knew something was up. Last week at Martinsville, not a typical Darrell Waltrip performance. He wants to make up for it today. Left side tires going on. He's full of fuel and down and away.
21-second pit stop for Darrell Waltrip. Davey Allison now is in, and just ahead of him, Bobby Hamilton. Allison's crew completes the work on the Haviland Ford. He's back in competition. All this under green flag. We have not seen the yellow so far today. But we did have a close call on pit road. As Jeff came in, Bill was headed out.
We see Bill Elliott saw that Bodine was coming in, stirred his car back onto the concrete, and Bodine took a little bit of evasive action and no trouble. Ned, did Davey Allison stay out and lead a lap? Or did he come in at the same time Darrell Waltrip?
Well, he had already been lapped, on the racetrack, so I don't know. I really don't know, Ben. I don't think he did. I think he came in just behind.
It's more than a routine pit stop for the Country Time Ford, driven by Bobby Hamilton. They are still working on the left side of that car. Now it's down off the jack, and Bobby rolls away, but he was on pit road a long time. Harry Gant is now on pit road along with Ricky Rudd. They're pitted at opposite ends of the racetrack. Here's Rudd right here on the bottom right side of your screen, and Harry Gant has moved away and is coming down pit road and pulling back on the racetrack.
Jimmy Hensley is in the pits, and the Dale Yarborough Crop are forward.
And Jeff Bodine is their leader right now. That means he's about to put a lap on Alan Kowicki in the Hooters Ford. He's going to try to anyway.
Second place belongs to Sterling Marlin, and he is about a little more than a half a straightaway, almost a full straightaway now, behind the leader, Jeff Bodine.
Mark Martin should be third. Kyle Petty should be fourth. We'll get them sorted out here, see who is...
Benny, we're seeing here that Morgan got up to 117 that time, which was equaling the speed that he achieved early.
Yeah.
So he may have solved...
Well, he's made a pit stop and put fresh tires on and made a chassis adjustment. So his car is a lot better than it was before. You ever see Kowicki still in front of Jeff Bodine?
Kowicki is being shown in the 10th position, being in the last car on the lead lap.
So Bodine has all the cars except 10 a lap down, and he's right on the back bumper of Kowicki.
Here's Kowicki moving to the inside of Derek Cope, and so is Jeff. Alan Marlin trying desperately to stay on the lead lap.
What happens under NASCAR rules, folks, the caution flag comes out, the leader, 15, slows down, then lets Kawicki go all the way around the racetrack up to the end of the field, making up almost 5/8 of a mile if he could just save a few feet here.
And the caution come out. Of course, they would have to,
yes.
That has to happen.
Under NASCAR rules, when the caution comes out, the field slows down and falls in behind the leader. In this case, it's a 15 car, the Motorcraft Ford, the red car in the middle of this bunch of Fords there, 4 Fords in a row. This is the Ford T-Bird.
We saw in the Fram summary that Davey Allison is 22nd and Bill Elliott 25th. Neither has found a handle here in North Wilkesboro in their battle for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship for 1992. Jeff Bodine is in command at the moment. Sunday afternoon of NASCAR Winston Cup racing here on ESPN. The Tyson Holly Farms 400 postponed from yesterday. We've completed 142 laps with Jeff Bodine leading. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. By Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinkin' Busch Light. And by the more than 600 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the right parts at the right price.
And he's got the right parts in that car, doesn't he? They're all picking up and sitting down the right way. So we see Alan Kawicki is pulled out about 5 or 6 car lengths ahead of the Jeff Bodine car.
Bill Elliott, however, is 2 laps down of the Budweiser Ford and not too far from going 3 laps down. And it's amazing how they have missed the setup on that car, yet the team car, Sterling Marlin, is right on the money. He's second.
And we see Darrell Waltrip there before. He is about to go a lap down, or he's right in front of our leader. And remember, he was one of the faster cars earlier.
Well, he was. You wonder if he stayed out there too long on those old tires. When they came in and got new tires, they picked up about a second to lap there for 5 or 6 or 7 laps while Darrell stayed out there. He did lead the race, but it has gotten him pretty far behind.
Yeah, he was among the last, if not the last, of the front runners to come in.
So in fact, Rusty Wallace was one of the smarter ones as far as that pit stop was concerned. As soon as the leader came up to put him a lap down, he came in the pits. He had 5 or 6 laps to get back, run on those new tires before they came in. So he was gaining a lot of time on them. So now he's sitting there in 5th position.
Yep. And there we see Kawicki on the inside of Bill Elliott. And he takes that spot away.
There's Morgan Shepherd. He's keeping up with the other Fords in this foursome.
Yeah, his car is running much better than it was before, so I'm sure they made quite an adjustment on the Citgo Ford when they made pit stop.
And Jeff Bodine puts Bill Elliott another lap down. So what's that make it, 3 down now then?
I think that's right. We saw him get lapped 2 times earlier. Yep.
3 down. Inside our Citgo in-car camera, inside the Morgan Shepherd car, watching the Ford telemetry.
Once again, that top speed's 117. Didn't get below 70 that time.
Morgan takes a look on the inside of Jeff Bodine.
Morgan currently being shown in the 17th position. He is 2 laps down. He'd like to get one of those back.
Rusty Wallace is 5th, and Ernie Irvin is 6th.
Well, that was a great move he made a moment ago, pitting, as you said, Ned.
Yeah, it was very smart. He got some laps on fresh tires. But now if we have a long green going again, well, he's going to have to come in earlier than the rest because the car will go away again, even though they might have made an adjustment. Still, when those tires get heated up on this, the pavement here seems to be a little bit abrasive on this racetrack, and when the tires really get worn after about 100 laps on them, it makes the car do different things.
It's probably as abrasive as it will ever get because all the rubber that had been put on the track was washed away the last 2 days.
Exactly. As there was about 4 inches of rain in this area.
It seemed like there was a foot.
Inside the Jimmy Hensley car, the Phillips 66 Ford. as he looks on Ernie Irvin. Rusty Wallace.
Hut Strickland also up ahead there, the car with the red tail.
Rusty moves over to go by Hut Strickland, and Ernie gets alongside now. Is he going to be able to do it? No, Wallace uses the cars of the slower cars as a pick, and Ernie has to fall in behind him.
This is a battle for position between Rusty Wallace and Ernie Irvin.
They're battling for fifth. Wallace is in fifth, Ernie is in sixth, Terry Labonte is seventh. Dave Marcus, they just passed there in that little battle in the Kellogg's car. He has come in from pits.
Ernie gets off the corner well, looks to the inside. Nope, can't do it this time.
Rusty's car might already be starting to go away just a little bit. He has driven it hard since he came back out with those new tires and has abused them, no doubt about it.
He's driven it hard. Also, Ernie Irvin stopped a few laps later than he did, so his tire's a little bit fresher than Rusty's. Yep. And that makes so much difference.
Jimmy Hensley is also keeping up with these two guys.
If they can stop now and make all the adjustments they want to make on the cars and throw the green flag, a lot of cars will be a lot better off.
Alan Kulwicki has not yet gone a lap down, but he is very close as the leader, Jeff Bodine, is now right on the rear spoiler of that car in the fourth turn. Jeff looking to the inside.
Now they've run about the distance that Jeff did before on the fresh set of tires they had when he started. The car really started hooking up, and it looks like it's that way again. Now whether his car gets better or whether the others just go away a little bit.
He's going to try it on the outside. No, it couldn't make the pass out there.
Having some difficulty getting around Alan Kulwicki. Mark Martin, however, is in third position, and he may be one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
He definitely is. He is moving up on Sterling Marlin, who is running in second place. He has been fast from the drop of the green flag.
And you can see that, indeed, on 5 consecutive laps, Martin cut the interval from 7.5 seconds down to 6.6 and was consistently faster than the leader, Jeff Bodine. 1 lap, they were the same. Lap 138, but other than that, Martin was at least a 1/10 of a second faster.
In practice Saturday afternoon, Mark Martin went on the racetrack when they opened the track for practice and ran something like 60 laps, non-stop, consecutive laps, trying to get the tires worn, trying to get into this stage of the race to find out what his car was going to do. Looks like it worked pretty well.
162 out of 400 laps are completed. It's Jeff Bodine, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, Kyle Petty, and Rusty Wallace. You'll win a new Chevrolet Lumina. Winner next week's contest for the Melly Yellow 500 at Charlotte on the 11th. We must have your entry by the 10th. Write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida. Zip code 337312246. You have to be 18 years of age or older to enter, and again, we must have your entry by next Friday. Make that Saturday, October the 10th.
And Jeff Bodine got by Alan Kulwicki and pulled out by about 10 car lengths in just a lap or two.
And we have a change in second place as Mark Martin has passed the 22 car, and Ernie Irvin has passed Rusty Wallace.
There we see Jeff Bodine. Here comes Mark Martin. The interval, 2.8 seconds. So Mark Martin started 16th. There hasn't been a caution flag. They've all made pit stops, and he's just 2.8 seconds behind. So obviously the battle forward running very well.
Let's do it again. Remember, 2.8 was the interval last lap. We'll do it again.
Here comes Martin.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Martin, however, has got a lot more traffic to go through than Jeff Bodine does.
I don't know. Jeff has got the other Bodine in front of him, and that might be more trouble than all those cars that Martin has in front of him.
They ran together at North Wilkesboro last weekend on the same lap, but Brett not on the lead lap.
Well, they're showing him on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's about to go a lap down.
Ninth place, yes. He had a very, very good pit stop.
That time it was 3 seconds, the interval. Look at Jeff come up on the back of that car.
Donnie, Travis, Bud, think about you guys have really, along with Jeff Bodine, got this Motorcraft Ford working well.
It's amazing how many teams have come on strong here in the last few races. Bodine, Rusty Wallace, Kyle Petty. Several have really showed some strength. There is the 6 car putting a lap on the 21, Morgan Shepherd.
Boy, that 15 car, Jeff Bodine got in front of Alan Kowicki and Morgan Shepherd. He said adios, didn't he?
Yep.
And he's going to have as tough a time passing his brother Brett as he did Alan Kowicki, I believe. But Brett wants to stay on the lead lap, too. Hope for a caution.
Their Graham Field summary. 9 cars on the lead lap, as you can see. It's now the second place Martin. Also puts a lap on Alan Kowicki. Earnhardt 2 laps down. Bill Elliott has gone 3 laps to the rear. Richard Petty 5 laps down. By the way, he made another pit stop moments ago. Got some more fresh tires on that STP Pontiac.
What we see, 116 miles an hour just a moment ago,
117, yeah.
On the telemetry on Morgan's car, let's see.
Yeah, he's lost some distance on the racetrack. Let's check it out and see if it relates that way to the telemetry.
Up to 90, 100, 106, 107.
Oh,
yeah. 107 miles an hour, although he does have a car more Sterling Marlin on the inside of him. That's one reason that he's slow down the back. Only 109 that time.
Yeah.
Let's watch as he follows Sterling Marlin and just see how much speed he's lost.
Well, Dale Jarrett's on the inside of it now, so he backed off again.
Hey, you guys, don't pass Morgan for a lap or two. Let's watch this telemetry.
Well, they wanted to get on TV.
112 miles an hour, so he's lost 3 or 4 miles an hour again. We're going up the backstretch, which is really uphill. 112, the same as the front straightaway.
Look at this, the battling brothers again, and Jeff still hasn't put a lap on Brett. Now he has. Yep. Boy, they ran.
Uh-oh. Yikes.
Boy, they have run together the last few laps, but finally Jeff puts a lap on Brett. Jerry?
You know, if you were to scan the Motorcraft pits, one person that would be obviously absent is Walter Bud Moore, the car owner for the car number 15. Now, he's been around this sport for many, many years, and that's when you know things are going well. When the man who's responsible for the race team and pays the bills can go home and relax in his living room and watch it on ESPN. He's got to have a very comfortable feeling knowing that he's got Travis Carter and Donnie Wingo here to make things work, because last Monday he was home in Spartanburg and he watched his team win. So, hey, why not try it 2 weeks in a row?
Why not? He's well on his way to doing so, making it 2 in a row.
Hey, Bud, if Jeff wins this thing, they might never let you come back to the racetrack.
Well, the races wouldn't be the same without Bud Moore, so...
Well, obviously, the crew has prepared the car very well. They've got it hooked up. Jeff is leading, but our question is mental preparation, Jeff, as important as preparing the race car.
Sure, yeah. You need the right mental attitude. The crew needs the right mental attitude when they're working on a car, getting it ready, preparing it, and you drive in there to get 4 tires and some gas. And the driver needs the right mental attitude when he's behind the steering wheel. You need to feel good. You need to want to be there, I guess. You want to be having fun. And so whenever you sign that contract, you get that all behind you, get all that legal stuff behind you. I think everyone has a little better frame of mind, and maybe you can perform better, but even when you're negotiating, even when you're not winning, even when things are going bad, you still have to be able to get in that car and put out 100%.
What Jeff was talking about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he, Bud Moore, and the Motorcraft people sat down and signed a contract for 1993, got that behind him, so all the speculation about he was going to do this, he was going to do that, all of a sudden, mentally, he's ready to run the 15 car for the rest of this year and 1993. And it just seemed to make a huge difference, didn't it, Ned?
Oh, yes. I think it made a difference not only in him and his attitude, but also the complete team.
Boy, the Bill Elliott car is just all over the racetrack. He is having major problems. He's gone another lap down. That puts him 4 down. And it's very obvious that this Budweiser Ford is not working for Bill Elliott today. Now, how about Davey Allison, second in points? Well, Davey Allison is running in 13th position, all right.
He's still out there, I promise you.
there he is.
Heavy traffic.
And let's get a comment from John Kernan.
Well, remember at the beginning of the show, we saw Davey sliding backwards. The car was not turned. The turns, it was just way too tight. Well, on that pit stop, they loosened it up a little bit, put 4 fresh tires on it. We're very happy with the results after their changes on the chassis. In fact, they had told Davey that, hey, you're running a little bit better than the leader. Right now, you're looking at Davey running 13th. Bill's running back in 26th. So Davey Allison and his crew have to feel pretty good about their chances of gaining some significant ground today in the points race.
Well, let's see how much ground he would gain if the race ended right now. Elliott would have 3,575 points, and Allison would have 3,502. So he would reduce the deficit to 73 points. And Alan Kulwicki, who is 10th, would also still be very much in contention for the championship. 192 laps are completed. We are very close to the halfway point of the Tyson Holly Farms 400. We'll be right back.
Here we go again, guys. Wow, I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights.
Jeff Bodine leads the Tyson Holly Farms 400. 1 lap away from the halfway mark. 199 laps have been completed. Let's see if Jeff can hold on and collect the $10,000 in the Gillette Halfway Challenge. He's through turn number 3, and the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip is about to go a lap down. Terry Labonte has gone a lap down. There is the halfway point of the race, and Jeff Bodine is the leader. He takes home $10,000 in the Gillette Halfway Challenge Award. If you've entered the contest and are called at home now and can correctly identify Jeff as the winning driver, you will win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. So Terry Labonte is a lap down in 8th, and now the 7th place car of Darrell Waltrip is close.
Yep, Jeff Bodine has run up on him in a hurry, and Rusty Wallace is right in front of Darrell Waltrip. So now the 7th place car goes a lap down, and in about 5 more laps, Rusty Wallace will be in danger of going a lap down.
And before that, Bill Elliott is going to lose another lap. He can hardly get around the corners.
No, that car is just really loose. He came off of turn 4 there right in front of Jeff Bodine. The car was completely sideways. You would have thought he was on a dirt track.
Yep. John Kernan has a report on Bill Elliott.
I just talked to crew chief Tim Brewer and said, hey, how loose is Bill? Looks pretty bad. Tim says, hey, you got eyes. You can see what the problem is. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. They're going to try and tighten him back up when they get down on this next pit stop. But, they've still lost a lot of valuable positions, a lot of laps out here on the racetrack. It's just not a very good day at all for that crew, and understandably, they are upset.
Well, it hasn't been a good day so far, and here comes Elliott in. He has just had enough of this bad handling race car. He comes in behind Hut Strickland, who is going out. Elliott now finds his assigned pit, and the crew goes to work.
Yep, he fought that thing as long as he could.
John, go ahead.
Well, they will tighten it up, make a wedge adjustment, a major chassis adjustment on the right rear. It'll be a 4-tire change. Right sides are already on. Already got plenty of fuel. It was just he had fought this car as long as he could out there on the racetrack. Coming off turn 4 just moments ago, he really almost came out and hit the wall. Now they will also make a chassis adjustment on a left rear, trying to get that car to bite as it comes off the corner. And now Rusty Wallace coming into pit road. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
And just as you said, John, talk about wrestling a race car. Rusty has been wrestling a very loose Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, and he pitted just about 95 laps ago, yet he will come back in now, and they will once again change all 4 tires. Showing some of the battle scars from short track war. The back bumper has been shoved in. They have changed right side tires, and now the crew will scamper around and put fresh rubber all the way around to try to tighten up his race car. So it's earlier than expected pit stop, a chassis adjustment. Rusty Wallace is off the jack and away.
Elliott and Wallace make their second pit stops of the race. Elliott, now with the fresh tires, is going to get one of those lost laps back.
Well, he's, what, about 5 down by now, I guess?
I think he is, yeah. He's down in 28th position. Well, our scoreboard shows 7 laps.
Yeah, that's probably true.
You're going to lose 3 or 4 laps, 2 or 3 laps when you make a 4-tire stop. Here comes Earnhardt in.
He was slipping and sliding too, and he decided it was about time for him to come in and get tires. He's been out there a little over 100 laps, and he said, that's all I can take.
He stops at the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Ooh, almost went over that forward line there, and he would have had to have been pushed back.
You see him still bending the spoiler back on that 3 car. Still the car a little bit too tight. David Smith brings Jack around. Will Lynn goes around to change the left rear.
Chocolate Myers with the gas can, getting the second one in. It's full of fuel. Now the tires are on, and Dale Earnhardt is away. As we mentioned yesterday, Earnhardt really is in a battle right now just to stay in the top 10, because only the top 10 make it to the podium at the NASCAR Winston Cup banquet. And Benny reminds us that even more important than that, the top 10 get their expenses paid to the banquet. Here's John Kernan again.
Dick Trickle has brought the Snickers forward onto pit road. It'll be a 4-tire change. Right sides are already on. They'll come around to the left side of the car. They will make a chassis adjustment on the left rear, trying to get this car tightened up just a little bit. Trickle 4 laps down after his great performance last week. Right left to on and turns the engine on his way.
Dick Trickle had his problems last week.
He had a good run, but he got hit a few times.
Yeah,
That's fun. Sterling Marlin, the 4th place car coming here, 5th place. He had dropped back to 5th place coming in. Sterling's car was not nearly as good on this set of tires as he was a little bit earlier. Let's go down to the 5th. Jerry Punch.
You're exactly right, that Sterling did not like this set of tires nearly as well as the ones he started the race on. They began to go away, and the car began to slip and slide, and thus he had dropped back to the 5th position. Now Mike Beam and the Maxwell House crew have changed the right side tires. They will change left side tires. You might wonder why change all 4? Well, you're going to lose valuable time at 35 miles an hour in the 5th. So go ahead and change the 4 tires. Only about 4 more seconds. He is down and away.
Sterling Marlin, the Maxwell House Ford, pulls back onto the racetrack.
I might add right now, we can watch Jeff Bodine in the red 15 lead the race. If the race were to end right now, Ford would clinch the manufacturer's trophy. It would be the first time that Ford won this since 1969. And the Ford people would be deliriously happy.
Yeah, you can bet there'll be all kinds of full-page ads in the major newspapers tomorrow. A Ford leads this race, driven by Jeff Bodine. We're riding with the king, and a helmet cam on Richard Petty in his final race at North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina, where he has won 15 different times. Today, King Richard Petty finds himself in the second half of the field as we are 215 laps into this event. We are back at North Wilkesboro Speedway, ESPN Speed World coverage of the Tyson Holly Farms 400. The 4th place car of Ernie Irvan is about to go a lap down to Jeff Bodine. This guy is just dominating, huh?
Is he dusting them or what? Woo. Man, oh man.
Ernie is trying to hang on, but he's about to go a lap down. Out of the first 215 laps, Jeff has led 140 of them. We are cautionless so far. 5 cars, now 4 cars are on the lead lap as he gets around Ernie. 6 leaders, 9 lead changes, and an average speed of 107.92 miles an hour. Those that have led a lap include, of course, Jeff, also Kyle Petty, Alan Kulwicki, Rusty Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, and Sterling Marlin. Each of those drivers picking up 5 Winston Cup bonus points. And only 1 car officially out of the race, that's Jeff Purvis. In for a pit stop is Ernie Irvan, who just got lapped. And the Mechanic of the Year standings show us that Tony Glover, who is the chief mechanic on this car that you're watching, is leading the Mechanic of the Year standings with 494 points, followed by Donnie Richardson, Tim Brewer, Steve Meal, and Buddy Parrott is now 5th in the standings.
Man, oh man, had some kind of trouble on the right front. That's going to kill it. Pit stop on the Kodak Film Chevrolet. Long time on the right front. Johnny Townsend. That's some kind of problem now. He has the car going away. I think that's Johnny.
Boy, those seconds must seem like hours when you're there. And the pole sitter, Alan Kulwicki, and now is going to go another lap down. He is 8th at the moment.
And he would be 2 laps down, right?
That's correct. Boy, wouldn't it be great if we could go cautionless in this race? The last time that a NASCAR Winston Cup race was run without caution was back in 1984 at the Champion Spark Plug 400 at Michigan International. There has never been a caution-free race here at North Wilkesboro. On 2 different occasions, there has been 1 caution flag during the race. That was in 1983 at the Holly Farms 400 and in 1978 at the Wilkes 400.
Wilkesboro. Oh, the Wilkesboro 100.
Yeah. Jerry, what happened there on Ernie's pit stop?
Well, Benny, you were right. That was Johnny Townsend, and apparently they let the jack down the right side of the car too soon before Johnny had been able to tighten the lug nut. They had to re-jack the car up and tighten the lug nut to pull the tire and wheel in against the caliper so the car would be safe to drive. It cost them about an extra 4.5 seconds.
But 4.5 seconds translates to a lot of time when you're sitting there and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it really does. Hard to make up on the racetrack. Ricky Rudd coming in for a pit stop. He stayed out there the last time for a long time. Michael Waltrip in, so is Terry Labate.
There's Rusty Wallace. We mentioned earlier about how the crowd was very decent for a Monday, and I believe there have been more people come just since the start of the race.
Oh, there has, certainly, because the race started about noon, and Morgan Shepherd almost hit the wall down in turn 1, went up high, but he's now got the car going again as we watch Labate's pit stop. Right side's on, the jack is going around to the left side. Paul Meckler has cleaned the windshield. He takes his windshield cleaning device back over.
And the Sunoco Oldsmobile is rolling again.
Dale Jarrett coming in. Jim Sauter is in. Kyle Petty coming into the pits right now. These are all scheduled stops.
There's Kyle Petty slowly making his way down pit road. Jerry, he's headed toward you.
And we would expect to see them change all 4 tires. Kyle is asked to have the car tightened up a little bit, so they are planning to put at least 2 rounds of wedge in the car to tighten it up. The Mellow Yellow crew will go to work on that car as they are putting the wedge in the car. Others are completing their work on pit road, and we have been told that they are calling the leader, Jeff Bodine, in the next couple of laps. Kyle Petty's crew completing their service on the Mellow Yellow machine, and he will be headed back on the speedway.
Just shy of 21 seconds on the pit stop by Kyle. Brett Bodine is on pit road.
Well, I tell you what, that Mellow Yellow crew, let's give them a call, because the last month they have been just phenomenal on pit road.
They really have. They've run good on the racetrack, but they have also been, as you say, phenomenal in the pits, and that makes a world of difference too.
Jerry Punch, they've been tough, haven't they?
They have been awesome, Benny. You know, they told me they were practicing pits as good as they have been, which is almost unbelievable. They have been practicing to get better at the shop. Robin Pemberton told me that last week, or week before last, they were able to do a 4-tire pit stop in 16.7 seconds. Now that, folks, is fast.
You know, not too long ago, not too many years ago, that would have been fast for a 2-tire change.
You're right, it would have. Now they've got down to changing 4 tires.
Jeff obviously needs new tires. That car is slowing, and he may be slowing to get to the inside to come on to pit road. Not this time, but it will come before too long, because obviously the tires have gone away on the Motorcraft Ford. There is what I said a few minutes ago, the record for the fewest cautions here at North Wilkesboro, just 1, and we have had no yellow flags displayed so far today, and we are well over the halfway mark.
Harry Gant goes out of the pits after having made a pit stop. Jimmy Hensley just made a pit stop, waiting for the leader to come in. Darrell Waltrip's still out there, but he might be headed for pit road. No, he stayed out there, but he's down on the inside of the track running slow. I mean, slower than he did earlier when he had fresher tires on it.
Now, because of the fact that we've had no cautions, we are running at record speed in this event. The track record here at North Wilkesboro is 100.716 miles an hour, and the average speed of this race so far is over 107, almost 108 miles an hour. Here's Morgan, who almost hit the wall a few minutes ago, getting by Jeff. So is Dick Trickle. Jeff ought to be headed for pit road as soon as possible, I would think.
Well, he wants to stay out there as long as he can because we're getting to the point. Here comes Davey Allison in the pits. We're getting to the point that, you know, one more pit stop and a splash of gas is going to be into the race. So he wants to keep tires as good as he can have them on the car.
Which what he would really like to see would be a caution right now because there are only 2 cars on the lead lap.
Check the NASCAR official there in a black jacket. Mark, what's his name? Just went to work with NASCAR. Used to be Ted Connor's crew chief on his Busch car.
There, Davey is away in 20 seconds. Ken Schrader comes in.
Yep.
And here comes Jeff, finally bringing the Motorcraft board in. Jerry, he'll be a little bit getting to you because of the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, but just be patient.
Well, Bobby ran 123 laps under the green flag, so the next pit stop, or the final pit stop, as we should say, green, would be about 30 laps from the end, so it could be quite a barn burner here in the waiting lap. Jeff Bodine's Motorcraft crew cleaning the front grill area, some rubber in the front grill. They've already made a right-side tire change, making sure they get it completely full of fuel. Donnie Wingo, by the way, he did break his right foot at Martinsville. He has a broken bone, although you wouldn't know it to see him worse. They have put the left side tires out, and he's away in 24 seconds.
I tell you, signing that contract helped the crew out, Ned, because that's as good a stop as I've ever seen those guys make.
Well, they're the world champion, though, the Unical world champions at Rockingham.
John Kernan will call this pit stop as Mark Martin comes in.
The crew awaiting Mark Martin's arrival. He pulls it into the pit stop. There will be a 4-tire change. Mark Martin very satisfied with his car up to this point. We saw them make just a minor adjustment on their last pit stop, while we've seen some teams make some very big adjustments on their cars. Right sides are on, left sides are going on. Pretty good pit stop in the workings for the crew. Also, Darrell Waltrip is coming down pit road. Martin kills the car momentarily. On pit road. Mark Martin finally gets it refired and goes down pit road. Darrell Waltrip is in the pit stall. It'll be another 4-tire change. Darrell, remember, he was running so well in the first 100 laps of this race. After that last pit stop, the car kind of went away from him. The car got just a little bit loose. They're going to tighten it up with a round of wedge on the right side. Right side tires already on, left side tires going on. Fuel is in. Darrell waiting. They drop the jack. Walter pulls away. One note on Mark Martin. We just understand he's radioed in and said his clutch is gone. He has no clutch, and they still have to make one more pit stop.
Well, that, of course, would account for the stall on pit road. There is the leader now, Rusty Wallace, who will have to make a pit stop before too long. Richard Petty is back on pit road. We'll be back with more live coverage in just a moment from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Second position we saw there just a moment ago as Jeff Bodine, there he is, did get by Sterling Marlin. Jeff is now second.
And Rusty Wallace again, stopping early, getting those fresh tires on, picking up about a second a lap for, he stopped about 40 laps earlier than Jeff Bodine did. And
if he can make this thing work, though, at the end of the race,
I think he's going to make an extra pit stop, but I think that the strategy is extremely good for him. Now, Jeff has much fresher tires than Rusty does right now, and of course he should blow him off and go on. But
we can see that Jeff Bodine has already caught Rusty Wallace and takes a look on the outside. He wants to come down on the inside. Can he make it stick? Yes, he's going to take the spot away.
Those fresher tires by about 40 laps makes a tremendous difference. Now we'll see Rusty's car start to go away again, as we did earlier once the tires really get heated up.
And about the time he gets lapped, he'll come in the pits again and change 4 more tires and be flying. If this thing stays green, who knows what'll happen.
Be interesting to see. Because Bodine has to make another pit stop, too.
Exactly.
So
you saw Davey Allison in 14th, Bill Elliott in 26th position. In that latest rundown, those are the 2 drivers, of course, in contention for the championship. Putting a lap on Dave Marcus and Hut Strickland behind the car.
They're showing 6 cars on the lead lap now. Jeff Bodine, of course, the leader. Rusty Wallace second. Sterling Marlin third. Mark Martin fourth. Kyle Petty fifth. And Ernie Irvin
Yep.
In the 6th position, Brett Bodine is 7th, 1 lap down. Dale Jarrett is 8th, 1 lap down. And then in 9th is Terry Labonte, 1 lap down, and Darrell Waltrip is 10th, 1 lap down, and Alan Kowicki is also 1 lap down in 11th.
There's Dale Jarrett momentarily, who's had a good run here today, running in 8th position, and the leader, Jeff Bodine, as he comes up once again on Alan Kowicki, the pole sitter, who apparently is going to be unable to collect the $83,600 in Unocal bonus money. Mark Martin was one of the fastest cars earlier. See how he's doing.
He still is very fast, but as John Kernan mentioned, he's got to make a pit stop without a clutch, and that's going to be awfully hard to do and not just get killed going in and out of the pits.
Car runs well on the speedway at speed, but without a clutch, it's going to be difficult to make the pit stop.
Well, if he turns the car off, if he stops in high gear, and he takes off in 4th gear, it's going to take forever to get the car rolling again.
Mark Martin won this race back in 1990. There's back to our leader, Jeff Bodine. And he, as I indicated earlier, trying to put another lap on Alan Kowicki, the pole sitter. He's running in a bunch of traffic there with Jimmy Hensley and Jim Sauter and Ken Schrader. But Jeff has been able to maneuver through traffic precisely, accurately, and very well as he is leading this race. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Pennzoil, America's #1 selling motor oil for performance, protection, and quality. And by Subway, sandwiches and salads made fresh before your eyes. Boy, I can't wait to see some hockey on ESPN, huh?
I can't wait for a Subway. What are you talking about?
Oh, why does that not surprise me? Probably next to auto racing, my favorite sport is hockey.
Is it really?
I really love that sport.
Well, Jeff Bodine, Brett Bodine, yourself, you probably know the rules. Growing up down here, where we didn't have any ice, I never knew the rules, so I couldn't keep up.
Icing and offside and all that kind of thing.
I've heard of a blue line or something, a red line. I don't know.
Yep.
There's a red flash.
Yeah, it is well on its way to victory if it continues the way it has been nearly all race long. Bodine is the leader.
Rusty Wallace was running second, and he still is. Sterling Marlin is third. We saw the hood of this car come into the picture just a moment ago.
He won at North Wilkesboro in September of 1988, Rusty Wallace. And right behind him, as a matter of fact, is Sterling Marlin in the 22 car with Maxwell House Ford.
He was on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace a moment ago, so evidently Sterling's car, again, not quite right.
And running in 4th spot is Mark Martin in the Falcon Ford car number 6, and he is closing the interval between himself and Sterling.
Yes, he is.
You see, he had a 20.4-second pit stop, just like our leader, Jeff Bodine, had, but he lost 2 or 3 seconds when the clutch blew in his car as he tried to lead. And you can see just what an advantage that 2 or 3 seconds is lost in the pits. Or gained in pits, I should say. Jeff Bodine gained 2 or 3 seconds because he made his pit stop, drove clean anyway. Martin's car had a clutch problem, and he lost 2 or 3 seconds, and it ended up being about a quarter of a lap. But Mark Martin will not let that deter him, because this is one of the most determined young men you'll ever see in your life.
Without question, a race driver that gives it more than 100% every time he gets behind the wheel.
He drives every lap just as fast as the car will possibly go.
We talked about mental attitude earlier with Jeff Bodine. If anybody has mental attitude, it is Mark Martin. If the race were to end right now, here's how the points would shake out. Elliott is running 26th and would have 35.75. Allison is 12th, would have 35.05. And Kowicki, who is running 11th, would have 34.44. So the interval between first and second would be reduced to 70 points with just 4 races remaining after this one.
I'll tell you what, if he could keep doing that in 4 races, gaining 42 points per race, he'd be in good shape. But I don't think Elliott's going to be this bad when we go to Charlotte, Rockingham, Phoenix, and Atlanta.
No, I have a feeling going to be prepared for those races. His best finish here at North Wilkesboro was 3rd in September of '87. Here's the battle for second position as Mark Martin has passed Sterling Marlin and now is about to pass Rusty Wallace, and does.
Wow! It was just a lap or two ago. He was 4th, wasn't it?
Yeah, but 40 laps difference on those tires.
Man, oh man.
Martin has the Valvoline Ford cooking. Oh, better not mention food. It's past lunchtime and Benny's stomach's growling.
And this race started at the worst possible time, 12 o'clock.
And all we can do is sit over here and look over in the press box and look at them eat fried chicken and pizza.
That was terrible. Here's Bill Elliott about to go another lap. Have we said that today already?
Yeah, we have. And it really is an unfortunate situation for Bill, who's trying his best and trying to hang on to that Budweiser Ford, but it just isn't hooked up very well. Here's the snapshot. Watch for your favorite driver as he comes by, and watch the clock on the upper right to show you how far he is in terms of seconds behind the leader. There's Bobby Hamilton, Dick Trickle,
Darrell Walker going by, Harry Gant, Dave Marcus, Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin. And there comes our leader.
And the lap was 20.5 seconds.
Pretty good lap time at this point in the race.
Wonderful lap time at this point in the race.
The pole time was 19.209, but of course those were under qualifying conditions and not under race conditions, especially after he's run that many laps on tires.
Bodine is in the same straightaway with Ernie Irvin, the Kodak Film Chevrolet. Our 6th place car put him a lap down.
I'm sure you remember 1989 when I reached new highs in saying that Earnhardt and Rudd spun down in turn number 1, and this is the guy that went on to win.
I remember that.
Hopefully I won't have to do that this time. But Bodine does lead over Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, and 5th, Kyle Petty. Approaching the 300 lap mark, 289 laps are completed. Still all green, and our congratulations to Charles Tyner, 66 years old from Piedmont, South Carolina, who will be tooling around the streets of Piedmont in his brand new Chevrolet Lumina. He won the Gillette Halfway Challenge contest today, correctly naming Jeff Bodine as leader of the halfway point. You want to enter the contest for next week's Miller Genuine Draft 400? Rather, the Mellow Yellow 500, write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33731-2246. You have to be 18 years of age or older to enter, and we must have your entry by Saturday, October the 10th. That's for the Mellow Yellow 500 next Sunday. Earnhardt made a pit stop?
Yep, sure did.
Jerry, how'd it go?
Well, it looked to me like a routine pit stop with 4 tires. Richard Childress said they just keep burning the left rear tire up off the car, churning or spinning the tire off the corner, so they have to come in and change it about every 90 to 95, 100 laps. He would come in about 20 laps early and make that 4-tire change.
Well, now there are 5 cars on the lead lap as Jeff Bodine has passed Ernie Irvin.
He just continues to circle this track in a fine fashion. Just passes them as he comes to them.
You ever have a day like this, Ned?
Yeah, probably on a dirt track somewhere. You know, I finished 22 laps ahead at Shelby, North Carolina, and again at Spartanburg, South Carolina on a half-mile dirt in a 200-lap race.
Talk about domination. I'd say that's pretty good. How about you, Ben?
22 laps. Man.
Here's the points leaders again, battling together on the racetrack, Allison and Elliott. Not for position. Davey is 12th, and Bill is 25th or something like that, 26th. He's 4 laps. Davy's 4 laps ahead of Bill. You ever have a day where you couldn't do anything wrong?
Yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina, 1977. In the 500-mile race that's coming up, the Mellow Yellow 500's coming up this week. Man, I was hooked up just like Jeff Bodine is today. And, you know, it just takes about one of those every 3 years to keep you going.
You like to get them off that, but it's hard to get them more often.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. These guys have won 10, 11 races in a year, like Bill Elliott in 1985 won, what, 11 races? I don't know how he stood it.
Yeah, that would get to be old hat.
I'd had a grin on my face so big for 12 months. I've never been able to get my jaws back working right.
Now just a cheeseburger will do that. It's amazing.
Jeff Bodine put another lap on Dale Jarrett. That makes him 2 laps down. He's in 10th. Terry Labonte right there is running 9th.
But Dale has not had that bad a race, I tell you.
No, he really hasn't. I think that he might have stayed out there a little bit too long on the first pit stop, and that got him a lap down originally. And then since then, he's run pretty good. This set of tires don't seem to be quite as good as the second set he had on, but he's been running pretty good. Jeff Bodine has just been running so exceptionally well.
And if Coach Gibbs is watching, boy, we had to sort of feel for you last night on your loss. That was a heck of a football game. The Redskins losing, of course, to Phoenix. Here's 17 and 22 and 42. All of these cars have been very strong, at least at one point during this event.
Depending on how fresh the tires were and how the set of tires worked on their car at a particular time. Kyle Petty now in 4th position, moves Sterling Marlin back to 5th.
And once again, if the race ended now, Ford would clinch the manufacturer's trophy because of Pontiac. We got Ford, Pontiac, and the points phased off by brand, not by position. So we got Ford would get 9 points, Pontiac would get 6, and would close Chevrolet out.
Elliott on pit road again. Bringing the Budweiser Ford to a stop, John Kernan.
Well, once again, Bill Elliott still not happy with the car. Remember, they made drastic chassis adjustments on both sides of the rear. They will go to the right side this time. It will be a 4-tire change, screwing down on that jack screw 3 times, it looks like, 3 rounds. Now they'll come around to the left side. Right side tire's already on. It's already got fuel in it. Now they will go to work. Bill waiting. The jack goes down. Bill Elliott is away and headed down pit road.
Away he goes. And I tell you what, did you see Junior roll that left right? Here comes Rusty Wallace in. Jerry Punch is there. Rusty, he's coming to you, Jerry, slowly.
And Sterling Marlin coming right behind him. They pitted almost at the same time before. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, guys. They had asked Rusty Wallace to try to save his tires because he pitted on lap 202. Now we see 304 on the board, so he made it 102 laps. You see both cars, the Maxwell House Ford and the Pontiac, color genuine draft colors of Sterling Marlin and Rusty Wallace, sitting nose to tail down toward turn 1. Left side tires going on Rusty Wallace's car. They are just now getting left side tires on Sterling Marlin's machine. Rusty is down the way. They are working on Sterling Marlin's car. He is down and heading back to turn 1.
Rusty and Sterling both out of the pits, having made pit stops on lap 305. And here's Kyle Petty now coming down. Kyle brings the mellow yellow Pontiac slowly down pit road.
This should be their last pit stop, right, Jerry Punch?
Indeed, Jared, it should be their final pit stop as the mellow yellow Pontiac comes to a rest in the pits. The same car that was so dominant last week is making up 3 laps. They will change right and left side tires. That practice in the shop is certainly making a difference. What a pit stop so far. Left side tires already going on. Lug nuts being bolted down. He's off the jack. Kyle throws it back in gear and spins away.
18.7.
Wow.
Man, oh man, what a pit stop. Robin, take the bow, guys.
That'll get you some positions on the racetrack.
Man, oh man.
Just an excellent pit stop by the 42 crew. Our driver snapshot showing us that Jeff Bodine started 3rd, is the leader, is the lowest he has been so far during the race. 15th, that was on the 122nd circuit, and he has led 209. Now a few more than that right now.
He just keeps leading. His car is dominant.
Jeff Bodine leading the Tyson Holly Farms 400 now with 90 laps to go. We'll be back with more of our live coverage in just a moment. Richard Petty chewing on the old rag as he has done so many times in the past.
We see the camera mounted just above the bell sign on his helmet. A little black deal is the camera that you're seeing from.
There it is.
Pretty good picture of that little thing, isn't it?
Sure is. Amazing, isn't it?
We can see just how Richard's head bobs around in the car. Now he just keeps steering that wheel, sawing that wheel, trying to keep the back end under the car.
Here's Morgan Shepherd. This is the roof cam. He's had an up and down afternoon. The telemetry has indicated that 117 was his best speed down the straightaway, although at one point he was only about 105 as top speed. We'll see what it is now.
115 miles an hour. He just stopped about 3 or 4 laps ago and made a pit stop. So he has 4 fresh tires. That's why the numbers are up as high as they are now.
Coming in on some heavy traffic. Dick Trickle just stopped not too long ago. Alan Kowicki still has a stop to make.
Both Dick Trickle and Morgan Shepherd passing Richard Petty. Morgan is 21st.
That's the number of his car, Bob.
And he's also 21st in the scoring.
Alan Kowicki coming into the pits for what should be his last pit stop with about 80 laps to go. Harry Gant is in the Skoal Bandit Oldsmobile.
You can see the footwork there on the right as he has.
You see, he's a 2-foot race car driver. Brakes with his left foot, uses his right foot on the accelerator. We can see that left foot never leaves that brake pedal. Now off the brake.
Look at him stand on it. All the way to the floor right there. Now off and on the brake.
That's why some mechanics hate those guys who use their left foot, because they say that they're always right in the brake pedal. At a place like Martinsville, they say that you would unnecessarily heat up the brake fluid. But a lot of mechanics also put a very stiff return spring on the brake pedal so that that slight pressure does not put some pressure on the master cylinder.
The dance of a race car driver on a Monday afternoon.
Terry Labonte and Dale Jarrett just made pit stops. Brett Bodine is in the pits right now, so is Richard Petty in once again.
By the way, the information we gave you concerning cautions was applicable to only the modern era in Winston Cup competition. There has been a race here at North Wilkesboro that ran without a caution. That was in 1971. It was won by Gwynn Staley. Davey Allison on pit road along with Richard Petty.
No, it was the Gwynn Staley 400.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. That was in the spring of 1971. No cautions.
Well, Darrell Derringer led every lap in the race here. Was that the race that went caution-free?
No, that was 1966. Okay. In Junior's car when he led all 400 laps.
Davey Allison has led 4 short track races this season. He's back out on the racetrack, and there is the leader, Jeff Bodine.
Now, Rusty Wallace stopped about 20 laps ago. He's about to catch the 15.
With the fresher tires.
Rusty is 2 laps down right now.
Here's Mark Martin in. Now let's see what kind of problems he's going to have getting that car going. John Kearney's coming to you.
It'll be a 4-tire change. They're a few laps early. As a matter of fact, about 35, 40 laps earlier than they needed to come in. But they wanted to come in early. They're changing right side tires. They're over. Now the lug nuts are off on the left side. Mark has killed the car. What they're going to do as soon as the jack drops, they're going to push the car down pit road to dry and get it refired. And now it works perfectly to perfection without a clutch. An amazing bit of strategy for Mark Martin pays off.
Well, he got away pretty cleanly.
He did get away in great shape. As a matter of fact, he was a real benefactor of the speed limit on pit road. Here's Rusty, and look how he's closed up on the back bumper of the Motorcraft Ford.
Rusty is in 3rd place, but he is 2 laps down.
Here's a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval, and there is evidence of what the tires can and will do. Laps 309 to 313, comparing the laps of Jeff Bodine and Rusty Wallace, falling from 8.2-second interval to 6.9, and Jeff Bodine is on pit road. Cherry Punch, here he comes. It's lap 329. It'll be his final pit stop.
And Bob, he could have gone to lap 370, but Travis Carter has made the call that we cannot afford to allow Mark Martin to have fresh rubber and run 40 laps with us on used tires. He will catch us and we'll lose the race. So he made the call to pit 40 laps early. They are changing right side, now left side tires. They clean rubber from the grill area. Donnie Wingo in the left front, Harold Scott in the left rear. Left side tires going on, it's full of fuel. Off the jack, he's away.
Less than 20 seconds, 19.8. Good stop for the Motorcraft crew.
A great stop for him, and he is going to come out in front as the leader of the race. Kyle Petty is now running second. We see Kyle just going out of the picture. That's what that great pit stop by Robert Pemberton and those guys did for Kyle. It put him in second spot. There's third place. Rusty Wallace, and Sterling Marlin is not too far behind. He's in fourth. There's Sterling Marlin. And there's the sixth car, Mark Martin in fifth. So we've got a great race going now.
Third, fourth, and fifth running right together here, along with some other traffic.
Martin with those fresh tires, he gets underneath Sterling Marlin, takes that spot away.
And there's Dale Jarrett.
Dale just made a pit stop and running fast again, as they do with fresh tires.
So this race, although it's been dominated by Jeff Bodine, is far from over in terms of laps and in terms of who might be able to break Jeff Bodine's domination. Back with more live coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Holly Farms 400 in a moment. Has moved to second position now as he's passed Kyle Petty. Boy, Martin is on the move.
Martin is flying.
Well, now remember, he has much fresher tires than Kyle Petty. Of course, he has been very fast all day, Mark Martin has.
And a moment ago, this is how a change of position occurred as Martin went between, making contact with.
That was for third spot. He and Rusty Wallace, they ran in behind Hutch Strickland. Martin went up and banged off ricocheted off the side of Rusty Wallace's car.
Bumper cam on the 66 car of Jimmy Hensley. Looking back on Mark Martin.
I don't imagine we'll be seeing that picture along the way Martin's running.
Although Jimmy just made a pit stop not too long ago, about 5 or 6 laps ago, so his tires are fresher than those of Mark Martin.
Darrell Waltrip loses another lap to Jeff Bodine.
But Darrell hasn't stopped yet, so he was in the lead lap. He had gotten back in the lead lap after all these pit stops, but now he has went a lap down.
But if he has to stop under green, he's going to be about 3 laps down, unless he just takes on fuel. And I'll tell you, with 60 laps to go, 58 or so laps to go, that would be mighty risky.
Another Napa Field summary for you. There's Davey Allison in 11th position, 2 laps down. Now we'll wait and see where Bill Elliott is shown in that lap that was scored just 1 lap ago. He's down in 25th. Neither of the two battling for the Winston Cup points lead have had very good days.
Boy, don't you know Davey wishes he could have a day like he did here in the spring?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing also that only 1 car has officially dropped out of the race, that being Jeff Purvis.
Hey, that's right. The only 1 car is out of the race.
Pretty amazing. But when you mention the word amazing today, you got to associate it with Mr. Bodine here in 15.
Car has been phenomenal. You know, I said at the beginning of the race, a car that ran well early on was not going to run well at the end. Oh!
That was close.
Well, Ben, you said the car that leads the first 40 laps.
Yeah.
He didn't lead the first 40 laps.
But he came on strong then.
He really did.
Thank you, Ed, very much. You see that tire mark on the just in front of left rear tire.
If the race ended now, Elliott in 25th would have 35.78, and Allison in 11th would have 35.08. A 70-point difference. And Alan Kulwicki, who is running 12th, would have 34.31.
147-point difference.
Thank you, Benny. I knew you could subtract a lot faster than I could.
Ernie Irvin, the Kodak Film Chevrolet, about to go a lap down to Jeff Bodine. That would be 2 laps down for him. No, he is on the lead lap.
Yeah, he made a pit stop, and a long time ago and ran fast, as we have said. And so he did get back in the lead lap, but about to go a lap down. Now he is being shown in 6th position.
And Bodine and Irvin are also coming up on a pack of cars. That includes Ken Schrader, 25, Bill Elliott, Jim Sauter will be driving the blue 71 car that you'll see in just a moment. There he is, and Alan Golick.
Inside of Ernie Irvin, can't do it. He will have to follow the Jim Sauter. Excuse me.
A little contact there between Irvin and Sauter, and that was just enough for Jeff to get the nose in there. Another field snapshot for you.
That's an interval.
Oh, an interval, sorry. 2.8.
I think somebody hit it a little bit fast that time. I think it's a little bit stronger than that as far as an interval is concerned.
We'll do it again this coming lap. Mark runs alongside Darrell Waltrip.
Once again, here's our leader, Jeff Bodine. I'm told that we're going to do an interval again and see just how much ground that Mark Martin has to make up to win this thing. There Bodine goes across. Here comes Kenny Schrader, Bobby Hamilton. Here comes Mark. 6 seconds.
That's more like it.
6-second lead for Jeff Bodine.
But there are only 49 more laps to go.
I'll tell you, a couple of cars that are going to be hurting here towards the end, if there is no caution, will be Rusty Wallace and Kyle Petty. They made pit stops a long time ago in Sterling Marlin. They're already getting slower on the racetrack.
6.2 that time.
Jeff was able to gain another 0.2 of a second, stretching the advantage over Mark Martin to 6.2 seconds. We'll be back with more from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway. 43 more laps to go. The top 5, Jeff Bodine, Mark Martin, Kyle Petty, Rusty Wallace, and Sterling Marlin running in 5th position. Shaft Talk tonight at 7:30 Eastern here on ESPN features the great one, Wayne Gretzky. And I'm sure he's going to be watching our premiere of NHL hockey and watching the guy that they say is going to replace him as the great one in the National Hockey League, Eric Lindros, member of the Philadelphia Flyers. They'll be matching wits with the Pittsburgh Penguins at 7:30 tomorrow night as the NHL returns to ESPN. Jeff Bodine leads. Here's a trivia question. With whom did Wayne Gretzky begin his professional hockey career?
Yes,
answer?
The Edmonton Oilers.
No, the Indianapolis Racers of the World Hockey Association.
Really?
Thank you very much. But you were close.
Doesn't the Penguins have some good player?
Mario Lemieux?
Oh, yeah. Does he play for the Penguins? You don't know.
Here's a field snapshot.
Mark Martin, the 2nd place car.
It looked to be about 6 seconds again, the interval between 1st and 2nd.
There's the 3rd place car. Kyle Petty, 4th, 5th. And we should be back for a leader pretty soon. There he is.
There he is in a 20.4 second lap.
Boy, that is still a very good lap time.
Yep. Davey Allison running with Darrell Waltrip and Sterling Marlin and Rusty Wallace.
We see Darrell Waltrip slow around the racetrack. He must have 130, 40 laps on that set of tires.
No? Well, let's see. Yeah, he probably does have. Yeah, I don't know if he's trying to make it on just 3 pit stops here today where everybody else is stopping 4 times, or maybe they stopped 3 times and he's trying to make it on 1 less, whatever the situation is. But he really is going slower than most of the cars.
There we see Richard Petty still in there.
And by the way, we talked about the person who won that race back in 1971 that ran without caution, the Gwen Staley 400. 3 guesses, and the last 2 don't count.
Richard Petty.
Exactly. One of his 15.
Their leader, he dives inside of Morgan Shepherd, the Citgo Ford.
Dives is right.
Morgan clears Richard now. Jeff Bodine pulls up on the outside.
Now, it hasn't been long. There's Darrell Walter down on the inside. It hasn't been long since he was lapped the first time. It hasn't been 20 laps, and here he is going another lap down. He is still in 7th position, though, with 2 laps down.
It's been a while since I saw a driver and car as dominant in a race as Jeff has been today.
It really is.
Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt are on the same lap and battling for position. Looks like Dale's slowing down a little bit, though.
It looks like that's for 15th spot, and he is slowing down.
Sure would like to gain some more points and get back into the top 10.
He came in earlier than even Rusty and several of those drivers, so his tires are much older than the others.
I think that we can see just with Darrell Walter's progress the last few laps, how much he's struggling out there on used tires. That's why Travis Carter, Donnie Wingo decided to bring Jeff Bodine in, pit him early, because they could not afford for him to be out there in the same shape that Darrell's in, going slowly when Mark Martin's circling the racetrack at a good speed.
30 laps to go. And our congratulations to Donnie Wingo, our Western Auto mechanic of the race. Crew chief on the Motorcraft Ford driven by Jeff Bodine, in a position well earned today. And Mark Martin is still moving toward the front.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's not going to give up. When they throw the checkered flag, he'll say, okay, I concede.
But now Jeff Bodine about to move up and put a lap on the 5th place car of Sterling Marlin, and Mark Martin has cut it down almost a second. He's about 4 6/10 seconds behind now.
So he's reduced that from 6 seconds, cut about a second and a half. And here is the interval that we timed between laps 347 and 351, a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval.
You can see Jeff Bodine one lap in some heavy traffic ran a 21.7, whereas Martin ran a 20.7, so that's a full second, that one lap.
Overall, reducing the interval from 7.2 seconds on lap 347 to 5.9 on 351. Still a lot of traffic out there. There's the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip, and John Kernan has some information on Darrell.
Guys, you talk about winning the war and losing the war and all that. Well, Darrell already conceded the race. What they're trying to do now is finish in the top 10. They don't plan on pitting. They figure, hey, if we come in and pit, we're going to lose a couple of laps in the pit. We're going to finish farther back. So what Darrell's doing is going to stay out there on slick tires, trying to hold on and pull off a top 10 finish.
Well, he just lost 1 position to Brett Bodine, who moved into 7th, putting Darrell back to 8th.
He indeed did. And Terry Labonte is not too far behind him. Would be the next driver to move around him.
And then Dale Jarrett, also the Interstate Battery car, is in 10th spot. He's gaining on Darrell as well.
Rusty Wallace is about to go a lap down. Jeff Bodine comes right on the back bumper of that car to put Rusty a lap down here at North Wilkesboro. We'll be right back. North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, as Jeff Bodine continues his domination, and he's just put another lap on Bill Elliott.
We'll see Kyle Petty, the 3rd place car, not too far in front of Jeff Bodine.
Dale Jarrett is just ahead. There is Kyle. He's the 3rd place car. There are only 3 cars on the lead lap besides Jeff, Mark Martin, and Kyle Petty, and it isn't going to be too long before there's going to be 2 cars on the lead lap. Just 1 besides the leader. We are still cautionless, and we only have 17 more laps to go.
And Kyle Petty is just seconds away. We can see Jeff Bodine once again handling so well. Turn, get under Kyle Petty, take the spot away.
We can't emphasize enough, he has 40 laps fresher tires than Kyle. Look at Kyle's car bobble as he comes off the turn. It's getting, but he's got to hang on to it for these last 15 laps.
Just 15 laps to go. And Jeff can do 2 in a row. Has he ever won 2 in a row? Jeff Bodine ever won 2 in a row?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Let's see, is Mark Martin gaining on him? Are we going to, yeah, we're going to try an interval one more time. There goes Jeff. And here comes Mark. 4.7.
It's a lot less than it was, but it's stabilized, hasn't it?
Yes, it hasn't changed in the last 8 or 10 laps.
If Jeff does go on to win, it'll be his 13th Winston Cup career victory.
He goes by Michael Walter, Pennzoil Pontiac. There we see Rich Bickle, the terminal truck in Ford.
He hasn't had a bad day. Let's see where he's running. 20th. 5 laps down.
Terry Labate has taken over 8th from Darrell Waltrip.
And one car has fallen out of today's race. One car, the Rebestis Chevrolet of Jeff Purvis.
And that was the second backup car for that team.
Yes.
He's knocking at least a 1/10 of a second off every lap. But again, they're only coming up on 11 laps to go, and that isn't going to do it.
No, I would say Jeff Bodine is probably easing up just a little bit. Here comes Martin.
Oh, look at Elliott get sideways coming off corner 4. Well, the interval went up again that time by a 10.
Well, we can see what the traffic is doing in passing these cars.
Yep.
Martin slows down some as he goes by, or tries to go by Rusty Wallace. Yes.
Rusty at one point was very strong. Now he's going back again.
And what has made the difference primarily is the tires they have on, how many laps the tires have on. Now, certainly some of them chassis, Jeff Bodine chassis, have been hooked up all day. But Rusty Wallace has been good, too, especially on tires up until he goes about 60 or 70 laps and then begins to go away for it.
Next time around, there'll be 8 laps to go. Jerry from pit road.
Actually, Bob, I'm making my way to victory lane, but Lee Morris and the Ford people here are ecstatic. They are about 8 laps away from possibly winning the first manufacturer's championship since 1969 if Jeff Bodine can hold on and a Pontiac finishes in the top 5.
1969 was the last time that Ford had a NASCAR Manufacturers Championship in Winston Cup competition. So it's been a long dry spell, but they got off such a great start in the early part of the season, and GM just couldn't catch up.
And Benny mentioned that Ford could clinch it here today, and what had to happen was that a Pontiac or an Oldsmobile be the second, not necessarily the second place car, but behind the Ford, and the Chevrolet be behind either a Pontiac or an Oldsmobile for that to happen, and that's exactly the way it is on the scoreboard.
Another way to say that is if Chevy had finished second today, Ford would not have clinched. But since there is a Pontiac that will pick up second place points, then Ford will clinch the manufacturer's title.
Right.
5 more laps to go for Jeff Bodine.
You never see Ricky Rudd's car, the Tide Chevrolet. Remember, he ran so well the first 15, 20 laps. And now he's back in 15th spot, 3 laps behind Jeff Bodine.
How about our pole sitter, Alan Kowicki, who would have picked up $83,600 with a win here today. Well, there he is. He is running in 12th position, 3 laps down.
And Harry Gant is up racing for that spot. I don't know if Harry realizes it or not, but he and Kowicki are racing for position.
Jeff Bodine has a little bit of traffic ahead of him. Derek Cope is number 10 with now 3 laps to go.
I think there's 2, maybe.
I think there's 3.
Okay, we'll see. I think you're right and I'm wrong.
It'll be 2 to go when they come by this time.
There's Bodine.
Now, where's Mark? There he is.
Yep. There was 2 cars we saw on the screen, Darrell Waltrip and Dale Jarrett. Waltrip is running 9th, Dale's running 10th. Dale should not pass him. It's going to cost him about $2,000 if he did.
Wow.
10th place pays more than 9th place.
Really?
A lot of the contingency money is on like 1st, 5th, and 10th. and 10th place pays about $2,000 more. White flag up.
That's interesting. There is one more lap to go for Jeff Bodine, who finished 4th here at North Wilkesboro in the spring. He won Martinsville last week after a rain delay, and he has won here at North Wilkesboro after a rain delay. Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York picks up career win number 13 in the Tyson Holly Farms 400.
And Dale Jarrett tried to beat Darrell Walter, but didn't make it.
Richard Petty was there, and he just couldn't get around. So he picked himself up some extra money by not making the pass. They don't think about that, though, when they're out there. They want that position.
Trying to pass that guy in front of him, and Jeff waving to the fans as he comes down.
John Kernan is down in Jeff's pit.
With team manager Travis Carter. And Travis, what have you taught this team the last couple of weeks? I mean, you came on to help out, and things just all of a sudden picked up.
Well, I think everything has been in place, John, to get this team where it needs to be. And the last couple of weeks, things have gone well for us. And, you know, we've made some, I think, some really serious planning and got a real direction for this team, and we've tried to follow through with that. And I think that's the case with any successful situation. You have to have a plan, stay with it, and be confident to make it work.
Travis Carter very happy right now. He'll be heading up to victory lane. Jeff Bodine winning 2 in a row.
He is on the elevator. The car is being lifted up to the top of the roof. That's where victory lane is, and that's where we'll talk to him in a moment. Jeff Bodine has moved into victory lane for the second time in the 1992 season, and on consecutive Monday afternoons. We'll be talking with him in just a moment. Our Speed World coverage of the Tyson Holly Farms 400 being brought to you by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. The Victory Lane celebration, our Kodak Gold Film winner interview, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Jeff Bodine last week was impressive. Today, man, you were hooked up.
Kathy, you should be here. Maybe you're here. I don't know, but I don't think so. Kathy bowls out Monday mornings, but I love you, Matt, Barry. Hey, 2 in a row. This car was great. This was a lot of fun. It was fun last week, but a little harder than today. This car was hooked up. I'll tell you, the Motorcraft Igloo Ford was rolling. I think we cinched the manufacturer championship for Ford. That's great. Hopefully, this car will be on a winner's circle next year with 2 wins. We're way down in the points, but 2 wins should put it on a winner's circle. So a very, very important race today for us, Jerry. Not only for our morale and to show everybody that, hey, Motorcraft's in this business for keeps, but it puts us on a winner's circle. Bud Moore, Greg Moore, you're back home. Bud wasn't here again. Do you believe it? We're going to leave you home, Bud.
The guys in the booth were saying, hey, you may want to leave him home for a long time now. He's home, he's relaxing in Spartanburg, and you guys win 2 in a row.
Well, I'll tell you, that's why this thing's running so fast. Greg and Bud and all those guys back at the shop are back there working hard while we're up here working hard. Travis Carter, Donnie Wingo, this whole crew. So it's a team effort. And, hey, Lee, get over here. What do you think? What do you think?
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Manufacturer's Championship.
Manufacturer's Championship.
All right.
We really appreciate it. Great job you did today. Fantastic.
That's Lee Morris out here. The first one to 69. In fact, the first one for Ford in the modern era of Winston Cup racing, Bob.
Jeff Bodine led all but 88 laps of this 400-lap event here at North Wilkesboro. McGruff, the crime-fighting dog, is on the prowl. Jeff Bodine celebrating in victory lane back at North Wilkesboro after this. Speedway in North Carolina, where Jeff Bodine has won the Tyson Holly Farms 400. The only other car on the lead lap at the finish was driven by Mark Martin. Here's John Kernan.
Bob, I tell you, when Mark climbed out of the car, he had one of those big ear-to-ear smiles. I'm telling you what, Mark, you look like you had won the race, as happy as you were.
Well, we're happy to run good, you know. Things are really going good for our team right now, and we're just hunting a place to win a race, and maybe it'll be Charlotte. We were looking good today, but we couldn't outrun the 15 car. Jeff and them guys did a great job 2 weeks in a row. We were really strong, had a great car, and outran the crap out of everybody else, but you know, we just really didn't have anything for the 15, although we could get within 4 seconds of him, and that was about it, you know.
He was very amazing. Mark Martin, you know, guys that I thought the credit to go to the second place finish was that amazing stop where he didn't have a clutch. They pushed him off. Just thought a great job all around by this Roush Racing team.
Good effort by Mark Martin and everyone, and we're going to come back here at North Wilkesboro and have the complete field rundown and the top 20 in points as they stand right now. Unofficial results now of our race here. here this afternoon. Jeff Bodine leading and winning over Mark Martin. Kyle Petty was third. Rusty Wallace fourth, and Sterling Marlin finished in fifth position. As we reveal, we will tell you that the average speed for this race was 107.361. That broke the previous record by more than 6.5 miles an hour. And one of the reasons, of course, was that because it was caution-free. While they were drawing the track here this morning, there was an incident between two of the tow vehicles, or a wrecker and a push truck. One ran into the back of the other, and that was the only casualty of the day, guys.
The only caution flag of the day. It broke the radiator in one of the wreckers. They had to put down some oil dry, and we see Bill Elliott back in 26th spot.
And Jeff Purvis in 32nd, the only car to fall out of the race. How about the points? Elliott with 35.75 and Davey with 35.05. That's a 60.
That's an 8, Bob.
Or 35.08, right. 67-point difference. Kowicki remains third. You'll have to subtract that.
144 points.
Okay, and here are the second 10. Petty, Rudd, Waltrip, Wallace, and Labonte. Notice that in 11th through 15th now that Dale Earnhardt has dropped 2 more positions. He came into this event 12th in the points. He drops to 14th. Marlin is 15th, and then 16 through 20 in the points. Jeff Bodine, Ken Schrader, Ted Musgrave, Dale Jarrett, and Dick Trickle 20th in the quest for the Cup Championship. The two drivers that are continuing to battle it out for the championship are next to each other back in the garage area, Davey Allison and Bill Elliott. We'll be back to wrap it up in a moment. Kyle Petty, Rusty Wallace, and Sterling Marlin. Our next telecast of a Winston Cup event will come on Sunday, November 15th, the Hooters 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. It'll be our final telecast of the year, the final race of the year. We'll crown the champion, and we'll say goodbye to King Richard Petty. And then following the race, we will have the portrait of a king and our salute to Richard Petty. That's Sunday, November the 15th, immediately following our coverage of the Hooters 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Domination here at North Wilkesboro today by Jeff Bodine as he picks up his second consecutive win in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Thanks to Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. For now, this is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.